and welcome, all peoples. So, you might notice this is a little bit different than my normal setup, and it has been all day. That is because we are fundraising for the IWK through Extra Life. We're getting a jump on game day a little early, and this wonderful group has agreed to this insanity. We're going to, if you donate $5, you can gift any one of us a fate point, which will be explained throughout the game. But for those of you not familiar with fate, it will allow us to do really cool stuff. So if you want to do cool stuff, donate, help kids, and you get to see us do epic things. It will be $5 to give to one of us, or $15 if you want to give all 4 adventures. So we go for a group discount. For now, I am going to turn things over to our Master of Ceremonies, literally everyone else in the world, and the Game Master, my other half, Rob.
Hey everybody. So yes, as Geeks with Scars was saying there, we are getting together for a game of the Fate tabletop RPG this evening. This is a bit of an experiment. I've GM'd other systems before, but I have never GM'd Fate before, even though I've been interested in this system for a long time. And none of our players have ever played Fate before. So it's kind of an experiment for all of us. If you're looking for an example of the right way to play Fate in an actual play, this probably won't be the best example. And if you're a super big fan of Fate, I apologize if I mess up any rules or we don't represent the system really well, but hopefully we'll have a lot of fun trying anyway. Most of the rules of Fate I'm going to leave until we're actually in the game, and the first time that a mechanic comes up, I'm going to pause and explain for everybody how that mechanic works in the Fate system. As Carolyn mentioned, we do have the Fate points, and all I'll say for Fate points right now is they're basically a little piece of narrative control. Fate points are sort of a currency in this game that represent control over the narrative. So by giving somebody a fate point, you're giving them a little bit more control over what happens to their character and them meeting their goals. Fate in general is a fiction first, narrative focused tabletop RPG, and it's entirely setting agnostic. There are lots of settings that have been created for Fate, some really cool ones out there, and there are whole books that have those settings laid out with lots of information about the settings and about exactly how the Fate mechanics apply to Fate. But Fate on its own doesn't have any canonical setting whatsoever. You can play in whatever world you can dream up. The world we've dreamed up for this session is ancient Greece. But it's not the ancient Greece that you've probably read about or seen portrayed in movies. This ancient Greece is a little bit different. Specifically, we're playing in a steampunk ancient Greece. So in this world, we have mythology and magic and mechanical marvels all coming together to form this strange hybrid mashup world that we're experiencing. In our version of ancient Greece, as in the mythological version of ancient Greece that you've read about and seen, there are demigods, children of gods and mortals, who often have abilities that go far beyond what any normal mortal could do. In our particular setting, Olympus regularly holds tournaments for demigods. These tournaments are held every 20 years, and teams of demigods are given the opportunity to come together and compete against one another in exchange for blessings from the gods. These blessings can come in many forms, and past demigod winners of this tournament have used these blessings to become kings and queens, mighty heroes, famous, rich, whatever, basically whatever their hearts desire. We are joining a group of such demigods who are looking to compete in the latest of these tournaments put on by Olympus. And the first step in being able to compete in this tournament is actually getting to the tournament in the first place. So, as our scene opens up, you see the side of Mount Olympus. We're sort of in the foothills of the mountain itself, on a path going up steeply up the mountain. And breaking that path, there's a wall. This wall is very high, probably about 30 feet tall. And it stretches out in both directions as far as you can see, off into the mist. In the center of that wall, right on the path, there's a large, ornate door. It's a door that you can sort of tell from the shape of the door that it probably opens in the middle, like a set of gates. But the stonework is so fine that you can't really see the seam in the middle of the door. There's a great stone arch surrounding this door. And on either side of the door, there's a huge metal coil extending into the sky. Periodically, there's a crash of thunder and a lightning bolt, unmistakable as Zeus's lightning, comes down from the heavens and hits the leftmost of these coils of wire. And you can see electricity arc from that coil of wire down through a wire that spirals in front of the wall to a position just above the door, and then stops and dissipates. There's an empty space that the electricity doesn't cross. Then there's another spiral of wire that joins on the other side and goes to the other coil, and also spirals down to a box. This box is open on one side. This box that sits just above the top of the door. And inside this box, you can see gears and pulleys and various mechanical devices. But there's pretty clearly something missing in the middle of this box. This is the scene that we open up on, with this door and this wall, and with 4 individuals standing in front of this door. And we'll start by letting our players introduce their characters. So let's start with Libra.
Uh-oh. So I am I picture myself as this kind of little bit more Victorian style in dress, set of kind of burgundy pants with like these tall boots that have gears and stuff in them. They're not exactly functional so much as I wish they were functional, and my ideas for how they would be functional, I've essentially drawn on the boots. With what I intend them to do later. It's all kind of a schematic, but most of the schematics are in my head. Hair is kind of looking on the messy side. I have a bag that is full of stuff. It's organized to me, but only me. If you look into it, it would look like a complete disaster, what I would be carrying with me. And I am are we introducing, I guess, who our godly parents are?
If you'd like, yeah.
Okay, I am the daughter of Hades.
Okay. Next, let's move on to Samius.
Okay.
Or Samius.
Samius, yeah.
Samius, okay.
I am probably looking fairly disheveled in the sense of like hair's up in a messy bun. Clothes are probably a little bit dirty. Definitely less than what kind of Libra was, where I'm definitely more functionality over anything else. So I have like a lot of pockets. I'm picturing like a really poofy skirt that has just a ton of pocket space. I am the daughter of Hestia, who is the goddess of like hearth and home. Um, so in my various pockets, I'll have things like spices to cook with, or kind of like a little like sewing kit kind of thing like that. Very like a tinkerer in that sense, but anything that can like spruce up a house or just kind of like fix it up. Um, I have probably some dirt on me because I like to garden as well. And then next to me is my pet. I have a hog, so it is literally a mechanical pig who has a great keen sense of smell, and he will use his nose, hopefully during today's session. So yeah.
Okay. Next, let's go to Arlen.
That will be me. So, my character would probably be extremely messy and dirty, and probably looks like they were just recently working before they head out this way. The only thing I'd ever have on me is my toolkit, used for making various things, and honestly, other than being pretty disheveled and greasy, kind of matches my father. I'm gonna pronounce this wrong. Hephaestus.
Uh,
Okay.
Hephaestus. Yes.
Hephaestus.
And with that, we will go to Adina.
So yes, my character, we're like the working class heroes because my character's not super like clean either. She has a vibe that is very much like working on the forge metals, etc. Maybe a little soot probably on her cheek. Steampunk style not glasses, like goggles on her head, long jacket that she could easily like do up to act like a impromptu apron when working on things. She's not into the dresses, so she's probably the least feminine of all the ladies here. And she is also a daughter of Hephaestus, so she is Eli's character's half sister.
Okay. So that's our little crew of demigods who are looking to take part in the Tournament of Olympus. And you all know through the various ways that the demigods are informed of these events that this gate that you're standing in front of, the gates of Olympus, this is the gate that you must pass through to enter the tournament. No team is allowed to compete in the tournament without passing through these gates. And so, as I've described the scene in front of you, you arrive in front of these gates. What would you like to do?
Would you imply that this was always broken? Or is this one of the
Is that a question for me?
Just
That's for the group.
for the group.
Okay.
I'm gonna hope it's one of the tests, because if not, I'm gonna feel really stupid that we didn't figure this one out.
I would hope that the gods would at least be smart enough to keep the doors to Olympus locked on purpose, as opposed to just leaving it broken for anybody to mess around with or take parts out of. So my vote is this is obviously part of the test. And I'd like to go and investigate somehow. Is that possible, Rob?
Sure. Yeah. What is there anything in particular that you'd like to take a closer look at?
The mechanics within it, and I guess the general shape of what would be missing and what would be attached to it.
Sure. Give me an investigate roll, and now's a good time to talk about skills. So in Fate, there are a series of skills. The standard set is 19 skills, but different Fate settings or different Fate campaigns might use slightly different lists of skills. And the skills range starting from 0. So any untrained skill has a 0, and then you can get pluses or minuses to that to modify your roll. There are adjectives that are associated with the different pluses or minuses. So +1 is average, +2 is fair, +3 is good, +4 is great, +5 is superb, +6 is fantastic, +7 is epic, and +8 is legendary. If you're getting up to pluses higher than that, you probably need to rescale your campaign. But yeah, so the way that skill checks work is in Fate, we roll sets of 4 fudge dice or fate dice, and they look kind of like this. So they have a plus on one face, they have a blank face, and they have a minus. There are 2 of each of those. And so you roll 4 of those together, and they give a roll between -4 and +4. And then you add that to your skill modifier, and that's what you get as your initial roll. And then from there, you have opportunities to modify that roll further if you so choose. In a case like this, where you're doing an investigation against something that just exists, there would usually be a set sort of difficulty. So in this case, I would say that to investigate you're investigating the gearbox above the door specifically.
Yeah, where the missing component is.
Okay. Yeah, so I would say that you'd be looking to get to it's out in the open. It's not that hard to see, and it's not as high up as the other components that I was mentioning. So I would say that you're looking to get a 2
On investigate?
on investigate. Yeah. So
Okay.
in the software that we're using, Fari, you should be able to click the little dice icon next to your investigate skill, and that should automatically roll and do the math.
With the 4DF?
Yes.
Okay. Just gives me many options. Okay. I only rolled a 1.
That was a that was a
I may
1
have
on the roll, you mean?
a 1 on the roll, yes.
Okay. And then your investigate is a 4?
4, yes.
Right. Yes. So yeah, you can easily see from taking a closer look at this components box that the piece that is missing, there's kind of a shadow of what's missing, and it's very clear that there's a fairly large gear in the middle of this component box that is missing. It looks like on either side there's a gear that would be interlocking with that. That gear is missing right now, and without that, whatever this mechanism does is not going to function.
General size and shape, I assume I can guesstimate.
Yeah, it would probably be about the size of a human face.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any kind of like loose stones around, or like are
Yeah.
we inside of a place, or is this kind of more outside?
No, this is outdoors, sort of on a mountain path. It's hilly, but you're not mountaineering yet. Yeah, and yeah, there are stones around and sort of bushes and trees and that sort of thing.
Could I maybe see if, like, could I get my pet to kind of like sniff around, almost see if it was like taken off and like buried somewhere? Is that
Sure.
will like
Yeah.
help with like kind of figuring out like if they're just like, oh, we're gonna just take a piece of the gear and like toss it off somewhere? And
Sure. Yeah. Let's say, let's call that a notice roll, because you're not investigating a specific place. You're kind of looking around in general. So let's do a notice roll, and we'll call that a 3. That's what you're looking to hit.
Oh.
And that's a 3. Okay, so you get your cog hog looking around. You have a sort of a pretty thorough look around, and cog hog is checking under bushes and stuff like that. And you're fairly certain that the gear isn't around here anywhere. Like this gear, the area in general is just very much wilderness. There don't seem to be any sort of hidden caches around this area or anything like that. It's kind of rough wilderness and then the wall and the gate.
I'll kind
I
of yell back at the group and just say, I think we have to craft something.
I was gonna wonder, can I use my stunt?
Your stunt. Okay. So your stunt involves when once per scene you can if when you need to make something you can use things that wouldn't work for other people. So what would you like to craft?
I'm wondering if I could make it so a belt could be used in between the gears itself to rotate both of them.
Okay. Yeah, well, since that's a stunt, I'll say if that's what you're looking to do, then you can go ahead and use the stunt. I won't make you roll for it. So you're looking to put together a belt that can just connect the two gears that would be touching the gear that's missing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so
I
you
might
do
as
that,
well.
and you're gonna
Yeah.
put that into the gearbox.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You do that. Now you've got the belt there. Um, nothing in this gearbox is actually moving right now. Everything is still.
Well, I
I
got this part together.
I would like to. You had mentioned like the lightning bolts coming down every now and again, and they were
Mhm.
Zeus's, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what my kind of going with the fiction first and describing what I'm aiming for. I would like to like figure out, seeing that the belt didn't work, if the electricity is one of the missing pieces for this, and if it has to be something that can conduct specifically Zeus's lightning bolt. And I would like to spend one of my fate points to invoke an aspect for this.
Okay.
Because in Greek mythology, Hephaestus was the one who forged Zeus's lightning bolts. And as a daughter of Hephaestus, um, that's in one of my aspects. I think it was my high concept. I think that would make me familiar with them at least a little bit, where I grew up with Dad.
Okay.
So
Super cool.
So I would say this would be. I'll let you choose. You can either do a lore roll or an academics roll for this to see if you would know anything about how Zeus's lightning might work in a mechanism like this.
what was it, lore or
Lore or academics.
let's go academics.
Okay.
I'm slightly better.
I'm
at
gonna
that.
I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call this. So you don't necessarily have to invoke your aspect right away.
Okay.
That can be an option. I'm gonna say that this is also a 3
Okay.
for your DC.
See, 1, 2, and a blank, a 3. So I got 3 plus 2. It's 5.
Okay. Yes. So looking at this coil and this lightning that's coming down, you can tell that this is Zeus's lightning. And yes, it does seem like there is something missing that would conduct this electricity through the rest of the mechanism. And you know that Zeus's lightning is not just any old electricity. So this is going to have to be some sort of very special conductor if it's meant to carry this electricity to the rest of the mechanism.
So I'm gonna share that with the group. I'll be like, so those bolts are not exactly normal bolts. We're gonna need something special to fill this gap.
You hear a voice say, I would call special an understatement. You hear this voice coming from up above you. And as you look up, coming over the top of the wall, you see a man. He's wearing a very sort of sharp-looking tunic and sort of a, not sure what the word is for the sort of Greek, ancient Greek sort of kilt, but that sort of set of lower wear. And you see that On his feet, he's wearing sandals. These appear to be metal sandals. And out of the sandals, there are sets of metal wings that are flapping. He's wearing sort of a metal sort of helmet hat, and out of the hat there are also these metal segmented wings, and they're sort of flapping as well. You can hear a faint sort of buzzing sound coming from these wings on his sandals and on his helmet. And in his hand, he's holding a staff, and the staff has two snakes coiling around the staff, the metal worked snakes. And at the top of the staff, there's another set of wings coming out. He comes over the top of the wall and lands in front of you. As he lands, the wings in his sandals sort of retract. The segments of the wings go and retract into his sandals, and the wings on his helmet retract into his helmet, and the wings on the top of his staff curl down and cover the tops of the snake's head and sort of become a little pommel to turn the staff into sort of a stylish little walking cane. And he sort of stops in front of you and says, "Ah, you must be the batch of demi-gods that's looking to take part in our tournament. I think you may be the last group to be making your entrance." And he
Before
sort of,
responding,
Oh.
sorry?
go ahead, Amanda.
Oh, I was just gonna say fashionably late.
Oh,
He sort of smiles and says, "Well, within the tournament itself, time passes a little bit differently, so I don't think anyone is really going to notice." And he looks around and he says, "So, I'm guessing that you're interested in passing through my gate here."
yes, sir.
Of course.
And he sort of nods and then says, "For those of you who don't know me, my name is Hermes. I'm the god of several things, but among them, the god of boundaries. And it's my job to make sure that this gate does its job and only allows the worthy to pass into the arena for the tournament. I can tell you that to pass this gate, you will need to acquire 3 objects. I'm afraid that I can't tell you any more than that directly. But being members of the families that you are, I'm sure that you can use your various skills and resources to determine what it is that you might need to pass this gate. And just to let you in on a little secret, while I can't tell you what it is that you're looking for, if you manage to find out what it is you're looking for, and then you call on me to ask me about the locations of those objects, totally unrelated to this gate, I am also the god of travelers, so I can probably point you in the right direction to find those items if need be." And then, he sort of looks around again and he says, "If you have any questions for me, other than what the items are you're looking for, of course, then feel free to ask them. Otherwise, I will wish you luck and hope to see you back here sometime soon."
Not asking out loud, but I'm going to be staring at where the wings entered and exited the various parts of him. And in my mind, I'm trying to construct a way to put that onto my dog.
Okay.
But I'm going to turn to the group and say, well, we need a gear that is a special conductor, correct?
Yes.
So there's 2 other parts. Do we want to take a look at that and then perhaps bug the wonderful and gracious Hermes who offered us completely unrelated assistance later?
I don't see why not. I'm gonna smirk a little bit because I have at least met Hermes in passing because, again, his gear, all the gear goes back to Hephaestus, so I don't know him super well, but
You know his work.
I'll just be kind of like looking for where that almost invisible crack is, almost to see if there was anything that we might be missing there.
So the like as I said, the stonework on this door is so impressive that it's basically impossible to see where the seam is. But you can sort of tell from the design and sort of where the door sits in terms of the wall that this is a door. These doors would open inward, so away from where you're standing in the middle. You can't really see anything in particular from here. So the only two visible things that you have noticed that are missing are there is a gap high above the door where the wire from the coil that's being hit by Zeus's lightning comes across. There's a gap there before there's more wire. And then there's the gearbox with clearly a missing gear, which currently has a belt wrapped around two of the gears.
I'm going to look around at the group and I'm going to say somebody should probably go up there and take some measurements about what type of wire, how big, gauge, how long it is, how tight the coil should be. Somebody should go take those measurements. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not the most athletic type. I really like using my mind more than my muscles. So I'll do it, but I'm not the best choice.
I carried a bunch of stuff in my life. I might be able to get the measurements we need.
If you want to go up there and dictate, I'll write it all down for you. That way you don't have to worry about writing things down when you're awkwardly holding on up there.
I will.
That would be
pull out my
very cool.
fabric measuring tape. Would you like this? I'm assuming I have maybe a measuring tape.
I mean,
it's a lot nicer than mine, but yes, I'll take it.
That's pretty standard in a sewing kit. So
Right? I don't.
I'll give this. Put my fingers in my mouth and give this absolutely ear-splitting whistle, and you see a little robotic, well, not robotic, but clockwork steampunk-esque donkey that is about the size of a lab that has little wings. And I'd be like, Burrito can also help you hold anything you need when you're up there.
Burrito?
Burrito. In Spanish, it literally means little donkey. I have a coworker from Mexico. She helped me name the donkey.
I just got to make sure I heard this right. Burrito with a V or burrito with a B?
B.
Like the thing you eat.
Okay, cool. That's fun.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll try to climb up to get measurements. Hopefully in between the lightning bolts.
Okay.
We'll just start timing out.
Could I help with that by kind of doing almost a metronome count type of a thing?
Sure. So this is a great opportunity to introduce teamwork options. So when you're doing checks and you want to work together, you have a few different options. So one option is to combine skills. So you figure out which skill that you're going to roll. The character with the highest skill rolls the actual skill check. Any other participant who has at least a +1 in that skill can give up their action to add a +1 to the resulting roll for whoever's making the roll.
Nice.
So would...
Hannibal?
Sorry.
So that's one option for teamwork. A second option for teamwork is that you can use the create an advantage action. So the create an advantage action is basically a way that you can try to create an aspect, either on a scene or it can be on another person. That's especially common in combat, for example. And then when you create an advantage, depending on how successful you are at creating that advantage, sometimes you'll earn free invokes, and you can pass those free invokes off to somebody else to help them with their roll. The other option for teamwork is if there's already an aspect that you think you could invoke to help somebody else's roll, then when they're making the roll, you can invoke that aspect and spend a fate point to do so, or use up a free invoke if you have a free invoke to add the +2 bonus from invoking that aspect to their roll without them having to spend any fate points or expend any free invokes that they might have. So yes, if you'd like to help, then if you have a +1 or better in the skill that's being rolled, then you can just say you're doing that help action, and you describe how you're helping out, and then that just helps the roll. Or otherwise, if you'd like, if you want to try to set up something to help Arlen, then feel free to describe what you're doing, and we can do some rolls to see how successful you are at creating an advantage aspect.
Well, I think first he needs to get up there, right?
Yes.
So that's, I'm guessing, athletics. I do not have a +1 in athletics, which means I have to do the other option.
I have a +1 in athletics.
Could I use an investigate to potentially point out holds up? So like if you're feeling around looking for the better hold, up a little bit to the left, over a half an inch or whatever, to kind of, does that work
Sure.
at all?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I buy that. So, so in this case, we're going to say that you are trying to create an advantage.
Sounds good.
And so we need to. You're going to be. This is not an opposed roll because the wall is not actively trying to stop you from doing this. So the difficulty will be at my discretion. Let's say that this is a fair difficulty. So that would be a 2. So you're looking to beat a 2 with your investigate roll, and then we'll see what the outcome is from there.
Okay, I think I did this wrong last time. I hit the dice pitcher beside the investigate, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
and there's
I
a
got
5. All right.
That's
So,
impressive.
so a 5 means that you beat the difficulty by 3 shifts. The difficulty was 2, so 5 minus 2 is 3. So 3 shifts means success with style. So
Ooh.
you successfully create your aspect, and so in our little scene, sorry to the audience, you can't actually see the software that we're using, but I'm going to throw an aspect in the scene here now, and this aspect we're going to call climbing holds size up, and oops, and we are going to. Can I add a block for a point counter, and we're going to give this so I think with a success with style, yeah, you get 2 free invokes on that. So we're going to put 2 free invokes on that. So yeah, so now that aspect exists on the scene. It exists for anybody who wants to make use of it in general. So if anybody wants to invoke that aspect for a +2 on their roll, they can spend a fate point to do so. Libra has 2 free invokes of it that don't cost a fate point, and you can choose if you'd like to pass one or both of those free invokes off to somebody else if you would like.
Okay, well, I would totally like to pass one off to Arlen. Arlen, is that your name? Arlen.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else that anybody else would like to do before Arlen tries to make the climb?
Did you say that, like, if we have a +1 in athletics, we can help?
Yes. So
Okay.
so with this athletics roll, if you have at least a +1, then you can essentially combine your skills. So maybe you are giving Arlen a boost to get to the first handhold or something like that, and that lets Arlen take an extra +1 on whatever the roll is.
I'm almost imagining that, like, I have like some extra fabric or something that he can use to like wrap around his hands for like a better grip, um, in order to help with the climbing.
Sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, my athletics is a 1 in it.
Okay. Adina, did you want to do anything, or are you just gonna?
I think I'm going to be more on the measuring side because Burrito's probably going to bring up the measuring tape or whatever needs so that he can just keep his hands free on the way up.
Okay. All right. So we've got those aspects ready. So Arlen, you're gonna try to make the climb.
Yep.
Okay. We're gonna call this because it's an impressive Olympian door. We're gonna say that you're looking to beat a 4, which is great on the adjective ladder. So you can roll your athletics, and you're getting an extra +1 on top of whatever you roll from
Mhm.
the help from Sanius. And then, if need be, you can use one of the invokes that Libra has passed you.
Okay. Let's find out.
You
Got a
can do
2.
it!
2
So it's a
and
3 because I get the plus
a
1.
3 with the +1. And so if you want to use one of those invokes, then you can do that, and that gives you another +2, which would get you up to 5.
I would, but I had to spend a fate point to use it, or do I get to use that for free because it's being passed on to me?
Because Libra is passing you one of her free invokes, you don't have to spend a fate point for that.
Then I'll definitely use it.
Okay. So one of those invokes is used up, and yeah, so you successfully, using the handholds that Libra sort of scoped out from the ground, and using the help from Samius with the cloth around your hands to get better grip, you climb your way up. And so now I'm going to say that you're sort of perched on top of the door, so kind of down around your knees is the box where the gear is missing, and where you would put the belt previously, and then sort of at right around your head height, just like forehead height, is the gap in the wire that's coming across from the lightning of Zeus, and you're sort of on. I'm going to say you're on kind of the right hand side, so the lightning is periodically hitting the coil and coming down the wire, and you sort of see it dissipating, and that's kind of on the far side of the wire. So the part that you're sort of leaning against is not electrified.
I will yell
Can
up.
I give Burrito one side of the measuring tape?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just
'Cause
say that can just happen. We don't need to roll for that.
Little donkey wings.
that way I can have Burrito fly to the other side, and I can just get the number and then climb back down.
Sure. Yeah.
What gauge of wire? What type is it?
Oh, that's a good question.
So I'm gonna say now that you're up close and you can see this wire, this is definitely non-standard wire. So this is a pretty thick, and it's sort of a corded wire. Like it almost looks to be, it's some sort of metal, highly sort of very bright, um, kind of a sort of a gold color, and it's sort of uh, I would say braided. It's like a thick braided cord of wire that's coming down on the side closest to you, and on the other side, it's a little farther away from you, but it looks to be the same kind of stuff.
And it's probably one of those things where I probably have not had to work with this ever before.
You probably have not seen this particular type of wire. No, this looks pretty like a pretty custom job.
But that's good. That means we can eliminate a lot of the common types of wire. So
If it's such a custom job like this, I think there's only one person who would have made it. I don't wanna.
And I'm going to see you almost like make that face and be like, so what is it? Because I know, I have a feeling.
It's a custom job.
Oh.
Look, there's a good chance that it's around here somewhere and we don't have to go do the trade and barter system to try to, get the custom job fixed. I mean, does it look like it was cut or does it look like it was just never installed?
Which one?
I would say it looks like this gap was very intentionally left open. So like there's a like a terminator, like a connector at each end of the wire that you could like sort of a clamp sort of ready to accept a wire on either end. So if you had a piece of this cord of an appropriate size, you could slip it right in there and it would make firm contact with both ends.
I must say it's
I mean,
100% deliberate.
Maybe someone just didn't pick up the last order of stuff. Maybe it's just a shipping thing.
Yet that still means we have to go to the same place.
Right, well, we know we need special wire. We know we need a special gear. There's one other thing we need, and then we can ask Hermes where to find them.
I have a weird feeling that we're going to have to say hi to Dad. My dad. I don't wanna.
Your dad's closer than my dad. It's probably an easier trip.
You're
I mean, we could
not
say hi to
wrong.
my dad, but that's not gonna do anything for us.
All right, why don't you climb on down then before you get hit by a stray bolt?
Yeah, I'm gonna climb down.
Yeah, please
All
don't get
right.
electrocuted.
It would be shocking if it did happen.
Just one quick question, Rob, before we go on. Do you want me to put
Sure.
the Fari as far as I see it on the view screen for the viewers?
I don't think that's going to be
Okay.
super important. There's not going to be a lot of visuals that'll be that interesting. Just the current scene aspect and some numbers. So I think hopefully it'll be okay without it. If any viewers in the chat want to pipe up and say that they're having trouble keeping track of what's going on in the scene, then we can always throw that up there. But otherwise, hopefully the theater of the mind is working out okay for everybody.
Nope, that's fine with me. I just wanted to know. That's all.
Cool. All right. So, have we made a decision on where we're going to go next?
Well,
We need one more piece, right?
Yeah, I think we should figure out the last piece we need before we leave.
So we
Well-
checked the box, we checked the spring. What are we missing check to check wise?
Can I check the spot in between where the wire would be and the box, or is that like directly connected?
It's directly connected.
The lightning, is there, like, lightning's actively coming. Is it hitting the right spot, does it look like?
It seems like it's intended to hit this coil. Yeah.
Visually, can we follow the lightning to the coil, imagine there was more coil there, and follow kind of the rest of the path and see if there's any missing elements along the way? And if not, go through the gearbox and kind of continue onward and like look for missing piece?
It following the path, it looks pretty like you see the gap in the wire that comes from the coil. Then you can see the gearbox that it goes into, and then that gearbox is sitting right on top of the door, so there doesn't appear to be anything else missing between that box and the door itself.
What about in the box?
The box, as far as you can tell, there's only that space for a gear, and there's sort of the shadow of a gear that is not there. So there doesn't seem to be anything physical missing from this situation.
Okay. Questions,
physical.
Sabius? For your cog hog, can he smell ethereal things? Like non-physical things?
Maybe? Mr. DM?
I don't know if it's not physical, maybe it's something else.
Is it a
what I
switch
was
maybe,
thinking,
or like a...
Because Hermes said, you need a worthy team, so maybe, like, that's the third component, is that we need to be worthy.
But he said we need 3 things. Like we need to find 3 objects. Wasn't that what he
Well,
said?
Yeah, but
I think he just said 3 things.
So like is the third thing
he
somebody
said-
who's
he's-
better than us?
he said you are missing 3 things, yes, and he encouraged you to use the resources and contacts at your disposal to figure out what those things might be.
I mean, are we missing like the only thing I can think of from my side of things is are we missing a soul? Is there like a particular person we might have to go speak to who has passed on to figure out where the missing piece is? I really hope not. Because again, that's a really long trip.
And I'm not a very good swimmer to get through.
I mean,
That's
I'm sure
why they
there's a
have
boat we can
boats.
use, but that's fair.
As a DM aside, I will say that you do all have access to beings with a lot more information than the door in front of you has.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should start on where to source the
I
first
don't-
2 things and then come back.
I really don't want to disappoint my dad by having to like go and ask somebody else for help. I mean, like I told him I could do this myself, and like, no, it's fine. Yeah, let's go source the first two things.
I would also want to point out, you said you're going to do it yourself, but we're also doing it together.
I know, but like, can you
Mhm.
picture the god of the underworld disappointed in you? I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Just saying,
Yes,
it's
I
something I
can
really would
picture
like to
that.
not live. Yeah.
I look very confused by that because that does not compute to my character.
And my character overly is like, yep, I can see it.
All right, let's go figure out the first 2 things first, and maybe from there we'll be able to put together a third.
All right, well,
I have a weird sneaking suspicion we're going to have to see Hephaestus. Vestus.
I'll just put...
Because I think that's where we're going to find the wire.
Let's go see that.
Is Hermes still around?
Yeah, Hermes has sort of been watching all of this with an amused grin.
Oh gosh. I hate that.
Could we possibly trouble you for a moment of your time, oh great Hermes?
Of course. What can I do?
The very special wire that is very clearly a custom wire and nothing standard that you'd be able to find in some, normal shop. Could you possibly give us a direction or a person to speak to about where we might acquire said wire?
I think the biggest challenge you're going to face with that wire is in acquiring the material to construct the wire. That is the piece of information that you're probably going to want to find out to know exactly what location to ask me for. Is what
All right,
what material that wire needs to be made from.
Kids of Hephaestus, this is on you.
I'm just like, yes, trip to dad. That's like the excitement.
No, not. I don't wanna.
So, are we going to visit Hephaestus?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
Sounds
just
like
go visit the
Okay.
grumpy.
I'm just gonna check one of my spice pouches, make sure I have a good bag of tea to offer. Make sure everyone's in a good mood, and then we'll be good. Cup
Tea,
of tea.
please.
Cheers, everyone else.
I will need it.
Okay, well
So-
then. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, before we go, I'm just going to check on my puppy that's in my backpack and make sure he's all good. He's a mechanical 3-headed Cerberus that is growing up as I upgrade him.
Cerberus seems to be doing just fine. Sort of hanging out of your bag with 3 sort of toothy grins. Okay. So let's call that scene to an end, and we'll start a new scene. And this will be called. See if I can actually spell this right. Hey, I'll copy and paste it from somebody else's character sheet. There we go.
That is the best
Hephaestus's
thing.
workshop. All right. So we fast forward a little bit in time. We find ourselves in the workshop of the god of the forge, the god of craft, Hephaestus. This is a place that Arlen and Adina both know very well. Adina, perhaps, with many fond memories. Arlen, maybe not so much. But yeah, this is a place you have visited before. It's hot. It's very, it's a very. I don't want to say it's an overly dirty place, but it is a forge and a workshop, and it is active at all times. There are always things being made here. It is the crafts of literally the finest quality that could possibly be found of every kind. As you enter the workshop, standing with his back to the door, standing at the forge, heating some metal, you see the familiar sight of your father, the two children, the god of crafts himself, Hephaestus. Yeah.
All right.
What would you like to do?
I will first hook my arm around the shoulders of Arlen, sort of half around his neck, if he allows me, to basically just be able, if he tries to go the other way, to be like, nope, we're going.
Well, there goes my first plan.
Without really saying anything. It's just very subtle. It's like, yep, you're my sibling now, we're coming this way. And if he's actively working on something, I'll sort of call out as we approach so he doesn't get, spooked and molten lava or molten metal fly everywhere. Safety first.
Mm.
He hears this and he sort of takes the piece that he was heating in the flame, and he sort of quenches it into a barrel of water that's there, and he turns around and he says, "Ah, daughter Adina, and oh, Arlen is here too. Hello, son." And then he grabs a rag from sort of a nearby anvil, and he sort of wipes his hands off and says, "Well, what can I do for you? What brings you to my forge? And who are the friends you've brought along?"
Before we continue, could I do like a lore roll or something to know what is proper etiquette protocol? Do you bow? Do you say sir? How do you not offend somebody who is, you really want to help you and is probably far higher ranking and more powerful than you?
Sure. Yeah. Give me a lore roll. We'll call this a 3 that you're looking for to sort of know the etiquette of
Wow, 0. No idea.
0.
Can I try?
Your father is a chthonic god and not an Olympian god, and so you're not sure if the rules of Hades' court would be quite the same as what would be held in Hephaestus's realm, for example.
I'm going to default to Hades' court anyways.
Second. I have
Okay,
be right back. 1 second.
sure.
I try my
I'm
luck
going to
at a
default to what
lore-
Hades would do.
Sorry, Amanda.
I was just wondering if I could try my luck at rolling for that, even though mine is crap.
Sure.
Can I offer
Go ahead.
any help stealthily to them?
I'll say. Well, what is your? Do you have a lore? No, your lore is also 0.
Okay.
If you'd
No
like
help.
to if you'd like to try to create an advantage before Samius makes a roll, if you can explain how you're trying to create an advantage here.
Okay. So, from what I know of working with Dead, he's not really Olympian, but he is. So he probably doesn't stand on as much ceremony. So I'm thinking I might try to like introduce them and introduce like their family trees. So like, oh, it's a god of Hades. I can't talk. Hades and I'm blanking out. I'm sorry. It's
Sorry about that. My
I
tummy did
keep
not do a
wanting to say
happy.
Demeter, but that's not right.
Hestia.
Hestia. Thank you. And sort of just be like, that's their families, and I know you're not one to stand on ceremony, but I thought you'd want to know, you know. She's doing this probably more gracefully than I am, because I'm just being really awkward. Oh. Everyone shifted.
You'll hear me?
Yeah, we can still hear you.
I still hear you, yeah.
Sorry. Apparently my webcam just disconnected from my PC.
Do you want to take a tech break for a second?
Yeah, let's take a quick tech break.
All right, we're going to take a break, and everyone in the chat, thank you for tuning in. We will be back shortly. And we're back. Technical issues fixed. So yay!
Yes. The gods have stopped being angry with me for the time being, and so I have visuals again. Yes, when we left off, Idina was just introducing Libra and Samius to her father Hephaestus. And Hephaestus looks at the both of you and says, "Ah, yes, children of Hades and Hestia. I've not had many dealings with either of your parents, but I respect the work they do. They are masters of their crafts in their own ways. So, children, what brings you to my workshop?"
Well, I think Arlen's actually the one who needs to talk shop with you. I'm trying to use this as a bonding experience for the two of them, and just sort of still have that. You can resist at any point, Eli. She's like, I want you to have a relationship with Dad.
That's a meanie.
Just those awkward teenage years there. Yeah.
We're doing the what was the name of it again? The Quest of Heroes?
You're looking to take part in the tournament of the demigods.
Tournament of the Demi-gods. Okay, sorry, I'm names. And one of the missing parts seemed to be a custom job, which he got a good look at. So we had some questions that I sort of just gently step back so that he could take center stage if he wants.
Okay, now this, I think, would be an excellent time to introduce the concept of a compel. I mentioned earlier that fate points are an important narrative currency in Fate. As was mentioned very briefly earlier, you can use them to invoke aspects that give you pluses on your rolls. You can also spend fate points to make declarations, like to declare that you have a particular item within reason, usually sort of negotiated with the GM and the people at the table. The way that you earn fate points, number one, you get some fate points for free at the beginning of every session based on your character's refresh value. But also, you earn fate points by accepting compels. And a compel is when someone, usually the GM, compels one of your aspects and sort of offers you the opportunity to give up a little bit of narrative control over your character in exchange for a fate point that then you can use for gaining a fate point, or that you can use to spend later on to gain some narrative control. So the way that a compel works is that the GM can suggest one, or a player can suggest one to the GM, either for yourself or for another character, if you'd like. And it is basically it's anytime that a character's aspect might complicate their life in an interesting way, probably making things a little harder for them in terms of meeting their goals right then and there. But, will be entertaining for everybody. In that case, the GM offers a fate point to the player. The player can choose to either accept the compel, which means they get the fate point, but then whatever consequence the GM is offering them also happens. Or if they don't want to deal with that complication at all, they can pay off the compel. And in that case, they give up one of the fate points they already have and say, no thanks, I don't want to deal with that complication. And yeah, so that's how compels work. Now, Arlen has a trouble aspect called I look down towards the gods, so they in turn look down at me. So I'm going to say that given the contentious relationship between Arlen and his father, and given that Arlen doesn't have a great attitude towards his father, I'm going to say that the compel that I'm offering for a fate point is that Arlen chooses to be not super polite to Father Hephaestus here, let's say. It doesn't have to be really, really nasty, but basically chooses to be a little bit, little bit petulant, little sort of uncomfortable son-father relationship kind of thing, which in turn is going to make any attempt to get information out of Hephaestus a little bit harder. Any sort of skill rolls that might happen during this scene to get some information out of Hephaestus is going to increase in difficulty a bit. So, what do you think? Do you want to accept that compel, or do you want to buy it
anyways? So it worked out.
All right. Okay, so we'll call that a compel. So I'll give you an extra fate point there. And yeah, so what would you like to say to your father?
So, regrettably, we have to go to you just to deal with the fact that there's a material that is not really prevalent on the material plane that we have to get. And you would probably be the best person to figure out, because most likely, like everything else in the world, you've already made it. So, I would like to know where we can possibly find the material to make a wire that can actually handle Zeus's lightning. Please.
Hephaestus takes a deep breath, and when you land that please, he really sort of locks a glare on you as sort of that the sarcasm in that please really hits home, and you can see his face darken a little bit, and he says, "You're looking to enter the tournament, and you need that wire. That means you're trying to pass through the gates of Olympus." Yes, as you surmised, son, I am the one who built that door. I can. I do know the material used to create that wire, as well as the mechanisms that hold it shut. In fact, I know all of the pieces that you're looking for. I do want. It should be known, however, that that these are meant to be tests for tests of the worthiness of the competitors. So I think that to prove yourself worthy of receiving this information, I'm going to require that you can show me that you learned your lessons that I taught you well. And he's going to step back and sort of indicate his forge and anvil. And he's going to look to you and say, "I'd like you to craft something for me. I'll let you choose what it is, but it needs to meet my standards. And if you can do this, then I will give you the information I have."
Craft a gear, 2 birds, 1 stone. But the size of someone's head.
I am going to. What will I craft? That is the question.
Could I pipe up, and kind of with like some kind of like renown to him, like whether that's like sir or like oh mighty great one. Surely part of your lessons also must have come with teamwork, whether it be between the crafter and their tools or the crafter and their friends. Is this a group project we can work on?
Give me a rapport roll.
Okay.
We'll call this a let's call it a 2.
Okay.
For
She just seems so eager.
okay, so you got a 1. Now, would you like to make use of, say, your stunt for making people comfortable in your presence to help with gathering information from them?
I can only use stunts once per scene, or once per session?
That one is once per scene. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and use that one then.
Okay. So, what in particular are you doing to try to make Hephaestus more comfortable. You're sort of subtly influencing influencing him by making him more comfortable.
I will try to offer him tea that I've grown myself in exchange of like a craftsmanship thing where, I don't really craft with metals, but I can craft with like other things. And this is gonna be my offering, if you will.
Okay.
And hopefully
All
he
right.
will allow me to, maybe as a group we can all craft something that is to his standard.
Okay, yeah. I think that'll probably do it. He's a little bemused. You can sort of tell as you give him the cup of tea that he's probably not usually much of a tea drinker. He doesn't really have the look about him as of someone who enjoys sitting in an easy chair and an armchair and having a cup of tea. But I think he's a little amused by this, and
I grew
he
these
sort of
leaves
looks at the
myself.
he looks at the four of you and he takes a sip of the tea and he says, "Well, that is a fine cup of tea." And he looks at you and says, "All right, I will allow the four of you, since you are looking to enter the tournament together, I will allow the four of you to work together to produce a craft that is of my standard." So you can work together using teamwork, using setting up advantages, however you'd like to sort of narratively play this out to ultimately try to craft something up to Hephaestus's standards. And I'm going to say that Hephaestus's standards, all of the work that Hephaestus himself does would probably be considered legendary. He probably wouldn't expect legendary work from demigods, but I'm going to say that he's expecting this piece, especially with the four of you working together, to be epic. So basically, you're looking for the final roll to beat a 7.
Okay. So, I think I understand stunts now. Totally didn't understand it before. You suggested some stunts beforehand, Rob. Can I use one or so of them? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, if you'd like to sort of drop one of the fate points that you started with, then we can sort of say, like, retroactively you have that stunt available.
Okay. You know what? I'm good right now because that involves more reading. I think I have an idea of how I can help here. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist and I like to tinker with things. So would it be logical to say I have like half done up plans that just haven't been perfect enough for anything? For a variety of different things to act as inspiration for Arlen here, where I can start to bring them up and say, "Do you like any of these? Like, look at them. I've got tons of them. See in this book here, I just couldn't figure out how to make this section work, and like flip a couple pages over. And this one, I thought it looked good, but the mechanics were just all wrong. And can I try to give him some type of creative inspiration from my not perfect schematics?"
Sure. So I'll say we can do that in one of two ways, and I'll let you choose. One option is you can spend a fate point to make a declaration, and then we can just say, upon spending your fate point, that you happen to have some plans that are perfect for the thing that you're going to look to build, or you can roll for it, and this would be a create an advantage roll, and so I would say it would be something of your choosing. I would suggest probably crafts or maybe resources, something like that, to create the advantage of having found the right blueprint. And I would say that would probably be a 3 that you'd be rolling for to create that advantage with an invoke, whichever way you want to go with it.
I'm happy to do the guaranteed there of spending the fate point for it, and maybe I'll pull out my dog too and point to areas where like I utilized this here, but it just didn't work anywhere else, and I'll probably be scatterbrained as I try to forcefully inspire his creativity.
Okay. So in that case, we will spend a fate point from your fate points there. I'll
Is it the
minus
first
that.
number I minus or the?
There we
Oh,
go.
you minused it. Okay.
Yeah, I minused it there.
Cool.
And so we've added an aspect to the scene now called the perfect blueprint. And I'll let you decide exactly what it's a blueprint of. But now you have an aspect of the perfect blueprint that's an aspect that can now be invoked as part of the crafting role that you're going to be going for here.
I would like to help. I'm not going to touch the actual crafting because my character's narrative goal is bonding time.
Yeah.
But I'll be the one to basically say, I'm your assistant. You need the bellows pumped. Actually, they're automatic here, but you need me to run and get the materials. I know this workshop inside and out, so I'm going to be running, grabbing things,
Quick, the scalpel.
sort of saying, grabbing all the hammers, maybe
Okay.
slipping a slightly better tool when I can, sneaking one from Dad's collection.
Love that.
Okay. So are you going to be taking the sort of the combined skills teamwork option to give a +1 on the final roll, or are you looking to create an advantage in advance to set up another aspect?
Let's just do teamwork, I guess.
Okay. And Samius, are you going to be doing the same, or did you have something else in mind?
Am I able to do the teamwork as well? Because like
Yeah.
I recognize what my gosh, what is trying to happen here with like the bonding of two people. So I also don't want to be stepping on toes, but if I can add my craft,
I think it would be reasonable. You also have more than a +1 in craft, so you can take the teamwork action. And so I would say that even though you don't know the workshop as well, you're able to you know how things get made. You've
Right.
crafted many things, and so you sort of know when you can sort of tell when it's helpful to sort of be ready with a tray of
Yeah.
tools, tongs or hammers or whatever, and like hold them in the right place, and you can be ready with like the big sort of heat-proof rag to grab the end of a metal that's just coming out of the fire and stuff, and make sure that that's nearby where it needs to be. So you're doing the same sort of stuff as Adina. Adina, you're probably sort of like Adina's assistant.
Right,
As
I'm the
Adina
assistant
is
to the assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
The assistant's the assistant.
Yeah, I
So-
love that.
So you're the two of you are sort of acting as like two extra sets of arms to make things as straightforward as for Arlen as possible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I also use a fate point? Because my whole entire thing was how he kind of doesn't really care about my mother. I'm going to make this whole entire craft about my mother.
Okay.
And
Bonding moment. No.
Oh, I hope that tea was good.
More tea? The chat asked what
No.
drugs you put in that tea to make it so good.
Might need a bit of stronger tea after that.
So you're looking
I
to
want-
spend a fate point to invoke your high concept about your mother, in that you're creating a craft that's about your mother.
Yes.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, I'll allow that. I mean, you don't have to pre-invoke that if you don't want. Like in Fate, you can choose to invoke aspects after you've made your roll. So
Oh,
if
okay.
you roll and it's good enough, then that's fine. But if you roll and it's not enough, you can choose to invoke aspects. Basically, you can invoke aspects as long as you have aspects to invoke and the fate points to do it. You can only invoke a given aspect once per roll. So you wouldn't be able to, like, even if you had 3 fate points, you can't say, I'm going to invoke the same aspect 3 times. But if you have 3 separate aspects that you can justify invoking for the roll, and you have 3 fate points to spend, then you can get, up to a +6 on the roll after the fact, once you've made the roll and have seen how far away you are from actually getting there.
I want.
And in this case, I'll definitely allow that. You can invoke your high concept. You also have the perfect blueprint aspect on the scene from Libra, so that's another aspect that you can invoke if you need it. And then you've got 2 help actions coming, so you're going to be getting a +2 on whatever your crafts roll would be here in your attempt to try to get to a 7.
I'm gonna try and roll it right now.
Okay.
Is the help action only ever a +1?
The help action is only ever a +1. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's sort of like there's a bit of a risk reward thing with that, as well as with things like declaring an aspect for a fate point. The help action is always going to be helpful. You're always going to get that +1, and you're guaranteed that's going to happen. Whereas if you do something like try to create an advantage, for example, then that's something that you're going to have to roll for. And you could succeed with style and get a couple of extra invokes, and it could be more helpful than taking the help action. But you might also fail and not be able to create an advantage at all, and you kind of used up your ability to affect that scene. And yeah, same sort of thing with like spending a fate point to declare the aspect. If Libra had rolled for it to create that aspect, it may have been an aspect with a couple of free invokes, or the aspect may not have been created at all if the roll went poorly. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to try and make a little jukebox that has both him and her dancing.
Oh.
Okay.
I love
So
it.
let's try this.
How obvious is it that it's him?
Well, I gotta get.
So you
He's got to roll
you
first for that.
you rolled a 3, and then
Okay.
you're getting the +2 from the help action, so you're up to 5. So you're going to need to invoke at least one aspect to get there. So
I'm definitely going to invoke as much as I want to. I really need to had the whole entire mother-father thing, so the whole entire. Yeah, I'm going to try and use my high concept for this.
okay.
Use a fate
So
point.
yep. So we'll spend a fate point there. So I'll reduce your fate points back down to 2, and yeah. So we'll say that brings you to 7. So that's what you were looking to hit. So, so yeah. So you finish this jukebox. Does it play music as well?
Yes, I'm gonna have it play my mother's favorite song.
Okay.
Just keep twisting that knife.
So so you finish making this, and then are you gonna hand it to him or just sort of like leave it there on the workbench and step back?
I'm gonna leave it there on the workbench and just step back.
Okay. Hephaestus walks over and he sort of like pulls out a little pair of sort of like magnifying glasses kind of thing, like these sort of magnifying little for looking at sort of fine details and stuff like that. And he puts it on, and he picks up this jukebox. I'm assuming it's it's sort of like the kind that would like sit on top of a table kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So he sort of like picks this up. He's a very large god. So he sort of picks this up and starts looking at it, and as he does, it starts playing this tune, and he sort of stops, and then looks back at the front and sees the figures that you've put there, and he gets a little bit of a wistful look on his face, and then he puts it back down on the table and takes off his magnifying glasses and says, "You've done well. I'm impressed. I'll give you the information you're here for.
Thank you.
And he says, so the gates to Olympus, you're right that I did craft them. Or I should say, I crafted most of them. The material that you're looking for the conductor for Zeus's electricity, there's only one material that is found in the mortal world that can conduct the electricity of Zeus's lightning without burning out. And that would be cord that has been woven from golden fleece. So you're going to need to get your hands on some golden fleece and craft it into a cord to carry this electricity. Next is the part that I didn't actually craft myself. I crafted the gearbox and most of the mechanisms therein to be used, but the gear in question that fits that box was actually crafted by a mortal. A mortal with the greatest skill in the mortal world. Obviously not quite up to my standards, but incredibly impressive nonetheless. It was crafted by an inventor called Daedalus. His work is well renowned. After it was crafted and proven to work, Daedalus then took that gear and repurposed it. I can't tell you where it was repurposed, but I do know that is it has ended up in some other creation of Daedalus. The third thing that you need to open the door is a password.
Oh.
I do not know the password. So you will need to find the password elsewhere. I'm not sure exactly where, but perhaps if you ask Hermes, he may be able to direct you to the one who knows the password to pass the gates.
Out of character question
Mhm.
here. In this world, Gates of the Underworld, same type of idea as Gates of Olympus?
I would say that the gates of Olympus that you're looking to pass through for this tournament are not the gates just to get to Mount Olympus. These are gates specifically to enter the arena in which the tournament is taking place. You are, as demigods, you have your varying relationships with with your parents, some of whom reside on Olympus. Hades resides in the underworld in the House of Hades, and so you still would have normal access to all of these places. The gates of the underworld in general, especially as far as mortals are concerned, are a different beast altogether. I would say than they're less of a puzzle and more of an impassable set of barriers that mortals cannot return from without some special help.
I guess what I mean is, could there be a giant face-shaped gear in those particular gates?
Probably not.
Okay, cool. Then we can cross my home off the list. We're good.
Who knows? Maybe
Okay.
gate passwords, special ways back.
Well, yeah.
Isn't that Hermes' whole thing? Because he said he was the god of boundaries. And isn't a password kind of like a boundary?
Yeah.
Does make sense.
All right,
Maybe we have
well,
to get these two materials, go back there. Maybe he has some silly little trial of loops for us to jump through.
Golden Fleece, that is a start, and then some other creation of this mortal prodigies that has a giant, again, head-sized gear in it. I think we should, at the very least, and perhaps the one of us that should do it is the one who's on the worst terms with him, thank your daddy very much.
Okay. I will Thank you, Dad. But as we start leaving, I'm going to turn back and say, maybe you should visit Mom once in a while. He does miss
Oh my
you.
goodness.
It's like, oh my god.
We're so close.
Hephaestus sort of takes a deep breath and then kind of looks at the jukebox and then sort of looks back and just kind of gives you a nod and waves you off. As you're all exiting, you hear another voice sort of call out from some nearby room. Honey, are you in your workshop? And the two children of Hephaestus would probably recognize this as the voice of Hephaestus's wife, Aphrodite. And he very hurriedly grabs a blanket and throws it over the top of this jukebox and says, "Yes, dear, yes, I'm down here." And you all sort of head out the door.
Great.
I'll just like sort of look at Samus and Libra and be like, I actually think that went pretty well.
I'm glad you did because it was far from perfect and I've got notes.
Yeah.
I mean the jukebox was great, but like the interactions, my goodness.
Honestly, I think they went better than last time.
I'd hate to see what the solstice dinners are like with your family.
I wouldn't know. I wasn't invited to the last one.
Okay, so the fleece first, is that
Right, fleece. Yeah, fleece. Let's go.
So-
Let's look for golden lambs.
So were you going to Hermes about the locations of these items now that you know what you're looking for?
We
Yeah.
have to go to Daedalus? Is that who we're going to?
Yeah, I that was the name
Oh,
that was mentioned.
For the gear.
Yeah.
Not for the okay.
For the gear.
Yeah.
The golden fleeces.
Okay.
So can we just like, I guess worldly question, is this like where I can just like pray to Hermes and be like, yo, so like what are
Yo,
the coordinates
Hermes.
to the what? Oh, like do we have to like go to a place to like actively like talk to the gods?
I would say that in general, you probably wouldn't just be able to like call out to any random god and have them show up, but Hermes has offered to give you some information if you are seeking it. So I think you could probably, call out to the god of messengers and travelers and say that you're looking for guidance and he would probably show up.
Looking for a message and help traveling. Right up his alley.
Okay, so you're gonna call Hermes.
Yeah.
Okay. So pray to Hermes, and a short time later, you hear sort of the familiar buzzing of his metallic wings, and he shows up and he says, "Ah, our team of demigods. So have you found out some information about items you might be looking for? Can I help point you in any direction in particular?"
You certainly can. We're looking for a golden fleece, a gear crafted by Daedalus, and a password.
Ah, those are interesting items to be looking for. Well, the golden fleece, I can tell you, has been for many years in the possession of King Aeetes. So if you travel to the house of Aeetes, there you will find the golden fleece. As far as a gear from Daedalus's most famous creation of recent years can be found on the island of Crete. He created a labyrinth and the things within. And the gear that I think you're looking for can be found within that labyrinth. Now, as far as a password, you would need to seek knowledge from one who has the deepest knowledge in all of the mortal realm. I would suggest that you go to speak with Pythia. Pythia is the high priestess in the Temple of Apollo at Pytho, or as I believe the mortals have taken to calling it now, Delphi. If you seek an audience with Pythia, she may be able to help you with learning what you need to know to pass through whatever it is that you're looking for a password to pass through.
It sounds very ambiguous and helpful.
Yes. And with that, I will wish you luck, and hopefully I will see you again soon. And he takes off, and I'm going to suggest that we do a little bio break before we come back and continue on to one of our next 3 locations.
Sounds good.
Very exciting.
All right. I'll switch it. See you soon. And we're back again.
Yay!
Quick break, and we are back and ready to get on this quest more. So I offer it over to the GM again.
Okay, so when we left off, our demigods had just found out the 3 locations where they need to seek the things that they will need to pass through the gates of Olympus for the tournament. So, where would you all like to go first?
I vote for the fleece.
Okay.
I vote the fleece too. That sounds, yeah.
All right.
I mean, yeah. Let's do the fleece. The password sounds potentially the easiest, and I say that it's probably going to be the hardest.
I also
Okay.
vote fleece because I feel like there was something about going through a labyrinth with some kind of string something. So we might need to use the fleece.
I think
I
we
never thought of that.
Okay, so we're heading to the House of Aetes?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So,
What is this?
so are you? My first question for you, I guess, is what are you going? What is your approach at the House of Aetes? Are you going to seek an audience with King Aetes himself, or are you going there and looking for the fleece stealthily without anybody knowing you're there?
I mean, I'd prefer to be on the up and up, but I also don't want him to turn us away and then for him to be watching the fleece. So, what do we know about King Aetes?
Well, if you'd like to give me a lore check, if somebody would like to give me a lore check, I'll say that well, I mean, this is sort of a scaling difficulty, so it's more of a depending on how high you roll, we can see how things go.
I know nothing.
I have a +2.
I think you are the strongest in lore, maybe, of all of us, because I also have nothing.
Uh-oh. Shall I roll it?
I guess?
Okay. I got 2. I know his
Okay.
name.
Yes. So for a 2, I would say, I mean, King Aetes, being a king, is a reasonably well-known figure. He's the king of a region called Colchis. You would probably also know that, because you are demigods themselves, you know that King Aetes is also himself a demigod. He is the son of Helios, the god of the sun.
Okay.
Beyond that, you don't know a whole lot about exactly who Aetes is, or about his, what kind of a person he is, etc.
So maybe he will take, what's the word? Like, he can take empathy with us because we're going through like the trial of demigods. Maybe we can like get on that same page with him. Do we know if he's ever been through the trial?
With a 2 lore roll, I don't think you would know that, sort of based on your own knowledge.
Well, I'm not opposed to trying to bond with him, make him feel like a kinship with us, maybe an understanding if he went through it before, maybe like oh yeah, I was there too, I'll help you out. Maybe if we come across as super pathetic, he'll want to take pity on us, like,
You know what also?
Yeah.
You know what also works? Gifts/bribes, and we have
I have tea.
we have a very crafty crew. We got tea.
Yeah.
We got Smiths. We got someone who has a whole bunch of plans.
Maybe
all
we
right,
can-
let's go in social, I guess, as opposed to a burglary.
Is there other people around me
Us?
right now?
Us?
Like there's like not just us. Like this is a kingdom we're going to.
Yeah, well, this is part of why I was asking is sort of to decide where we're going to pick up the scene. So if you're going to actually speak to King Aedes, then we can pick up the scene in King Aedes' royal court. But if there's something that you'd like to do before we get there, then by all means.
I was gonna, because we were talking about giving him a gift. I was wondering if we could ask people of the area he rules what he would prefer as a gift.
That's a good idea. Info
Okay.
from the locals.
I have, and I don't really know what these skills are. I have like rapport as a skill. Could I like kind of use that to like talk to? Maybe he has like a guild of people, like not just like randos on the street who like I don't know at all what he likes, but
Sure. Yeah. You can always use your well, let's see. If you're looking for information from, say, the local guild for crafters or that sort of thing, I would say that would probably be a contacts role. You're looking to find some local
yes.
contacts who are in that scene. So I would say you could do a contacts role. You'd be looking for a 3, and if anybody else who has contacts as a skill would like to help, then
okay.
I have a 2 in contact.
So you're better at it then. So I'll add mine
Okay.
to yours. My other idea was just to maybe build a really cool, ornate, giant horse to bring into his.
And can we hide in it?
yeah, that was the
Just in case.
Just in case, that's the backup plan.
So,
Arlen, you were going to roll to see if you could make some contacts in sort of like the local crafters guild sort of thing.
yeah.
Samius, you're helping out. Libra, did you want to help with that as well, since you have the contacts skill?
Oh, sorry. Yep, I'm Libra. Yes, I would like to. I was actually just
Okay.
looking at people like, I have contacts. Yes, I would like to do that.
Okay. Okay,
Sorry,
so
spaced out for a second there.
that's okay. So Arlen, if you'd like to make that roll, and you're looking for a 3, and you'll get a +2. Okay, so you got a 0 plus 2, so that's 2. So you're 1 short. If you or anyone else would like to apply an aspect, invoke an aspect, then we can bump that up to a success, or otherwise we can either call it a failure and move on, or you can always seek to succeed at a cost if you fail. Generally, it means you take on some sort of negative outcome as well as succeeding in the direct goal you were looking for. So, we could either negotiate about that, or if you have something to suggest, you can, or you could just leave it up to me. But I'll leave it up to you whether you want to call that a fail, invoke an aspect, or look for success with a complication, success with a cost.
So just while we have a moment, I just want to recognize that we got a donation. Jolly
Hey!
Ruthless, thank you for the donation.
Thank you.
This seems a little awkward
Thanks.
because it's my character, but they gave me a fate point. So
Cool.
Yay!
All right. So Idina will bump your fate points up to 4. There we go.
I don't know what we should do at this point.
Is it possible for us to use aspects for him, or is it only him who can use aspects in this particular instance?
If you think you have an aspect that would work, and you'd like to invoke one of your aspects, and then hand off the bonus, then that is one of the options for doing teamwork.
Everybody likes dogs, right?
I prefer cats.
I know.
like both.
We won't talk. We won't talk about your choices.
we basically have a petting zoo.
I have a pretty cool three-headed puppy. I mean, like, could I use it as a icebreaker to talk to people and say, look at the cool stuff we did? Like, would the king like something neat like this as far as like a mechanical doohickey goes?
I love that.
I'll buy that. Yeah, if you want to spend a fate point to
Come
invoke
pet my
that
metal
aspect,
dog.
then I'll let that be another +2, and that would push that over to a success.
Okay, I'm willing to do
Okay.
that if you guys would like that. Would you like that?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll minus one more fate point from Libra. So Libra now has 1 fate point left. And yeah, so that's a success. So you've made some contacts within the guild, and specifically you're looking for what sort of thing King Aedes would like, what he would take favorably to. So as you sort of talk with some of these craftspeople, some of these guild workers around the area of Colchis, you learn that primarily the thing that King Aedes values is sort of acts of service. That's King Aetes' love language, really, is acts of service. So he in terms of gold and riches, he is a very wealthy man. Gifts generally don't impress him. He has a lot of marvelous things at his palace, but he is frequently looking for people to accomplish tasks for him, and so going to him, sort of offering your services as a competent masters of what you do may be a reasonable way to or get his attention at least.
Okay.
That sounds like the best idea.
Okay.
Would
Uh,
we know if gods have like a symbol or like a symbol?
Yeah, I mean, I think you would know the gods, the various gods of the pantheon have temples around and so on. I'm sure
Yeah.
you've seen temples to most of the gods, so you would probably know many of the symbols that are of the common Olympian and chthonic gods.
Could I take some time then to like make like fancy work, like a really cool like patch with Helios's like symbol in it to give
Sure.
as a gift?
Sure. So if you're looking for a symbol of Helios, Helios has a few different symbols that you could choose from. There's a sun, a chariot, horses, a whip, a globe, a cornucopia. These are all symbols of Helios.
I think I'm going to do like a sun. And if I could almost, and I don't know how complicated this is because I'd like to make things complicated, but like have like a sun and then almost do um in shadow like his castle or like
Oh,
he's
like
the
a
king, he has
silhouette?
castle, right? Yeah, like a silhouette like of his castle, so it's like your like his father's like looking down and shines brightly on your kingdom. I don't know, that's super cheesy.
Oh,
Aww.
that's cute. I like that. That's
That's
adorable.
adorable.
Yeah.
Your character's too wholesome for words. I love it.
Yeah.
We've got the whole
Okay.
gambit.
All trouble is that I see the good in people and I realize I'm like, huh, that's literally me.
Okay. Well, let's do a roll to see the quality of this item. So I'm going to say that if you're looking to sort of create an aspect of sort of a heartwarming gift aspect, I'm going to say that you'd be looking to roll a crafts of 4.
And if I notice them making it, could I help?
Please.
Sure. Yeah, I would say since you are a crafter yourself, if you can find some way, explain how you're helping in the making of this patch, then I think you could do the help action.
So I'm the type of person who just used my gift of creativity with mortals to actually help them. Someone's ripped their pants, I'll help them out. Someone who did this, I'm like, probably she's doing all the stitching. I'm not much of a sewer myself, so this is gonna be hard for me to figure out on top of my head.
Do you mind if I insert here a little bit?
Please?
Patches generally have some sort of interfacing or backing on the back. Maybe that's something you could help. It makes them stiffer, that waxy part.
Oh. Yeah, that's something I probably would be able to help out with, yeah.
Or even if it doesn't have to be a patch, but if it's a pin, needs a metal fixture.
Okay. Yeah, I'll buy that as being worthwhile for the help action. Would anybody else like to help with this?
I'd love to help with this, but more of as an overseer and pointing out things, given the perfectionist thing, pointing out things of if you just tweak that a little bit, and I'm going to try to go positive with the criticism. If you just tweak it a little bit, it'll really make it pop and just make it a little bit more yellow, and it'll really bring out the sun's rays. But you need to individualize the rays. So can you put a little bit more orange in between the yellow? That way, the yellow really pops out a little more. No, not that orange. A little bit less, a little bit more, right like that. Something along those lines.
I love this. Perfect. The color theory in here.
Which orange? Which orange are you talking about? They're all orange!
I'm talking cadmium orange. So if we can get the cadmium and distill it down to the right a pigment of orange, really grind that pigment down. If we could do a stained glass, that way it's literally the light coming through it. And okay, now we got to pull out the glasswork. 1 sec, I might have blueprints for this.
They're all orange.
No, cadmium can be used in 3 or 4 different colors, especially if you're talking about the warms. You have cadmium yellow, which is this primary yellow. You have cadmium orange, which is really your very standard orange, like your pumpkin orange. And then cadmium red, which is your neutral red. It's not cold like crimson, but it's not super warm cadmium warm. And so I guess cadmium warm can be really... And I'll probably go on a rant for a bit.
Okay.
I'm just going to whisper into Samuel's ear, going I lost track of orange.
Idina, are you doing anything to help with this as well?
I feel like the best thing I could do to help is maybe try and wrangle Libra.
So your method of helping is to moderate Libra so that Libra's influence doesn't trip over into the negative.
Exactly.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'll buy that. Okay.
I'm balancing the balancer.
So I'll say for this crafts roll, you're receiving help from all of your companions, so you can get a +3 on top of whatever you roll.
Right. And what do I need? We said a 5.
Looking for a 4.
Okay.
Or higher.
Hey.
All right. So yeah, so you've created an excellent patch, and it's a very good likeness of the House of Aetes, and with the son of Helios and so on. I'm going to add an aspect to the scene here called Heartwarming Gift. And that is a creating a new situation aspect, which means you get, because it was a success, you get 1 free invoke on that heartwarming gift aspect as well. All right. So, are we? Oh, sorry.
Just a little announcement. We had another donation. I hope I said this right. The Doom's Doormat gave us a $15 donation, so everyone gets fate points.
Hooray!
Oh, yay!
Yay!
I was almost out. Thank you.
All right. So I'll go and pop up everybody's fate points there. 1 more here. 1 more here.
Bon, on continue. And I apologize to anyone who actually speaks French that I butchered that.
1 more there.
In in hopes to get Libra to appreciate the type of orange I've used, I imagine that I almost use an actual orange peel. That, of course, I've grown myself somehow. I don't know. Are they in season? Sure. Here's an orange peel.
I'm just holding all the different colored threads going.
Yeah. No, I need light orange. No, not yellow. Light orange.
Okay, so are we going to the court of King Aetes now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you head to the palace and you present yourselves as wanting to an audience with King Aetes, and you're led to a throne room, and it's a very very well appointed throne room. Lots of sort of gold inlay and lots of sort of statues and figurines, and as you enter, seated on the throne there, you see King Aetes. He is seated on his throne, looking imperious. Off to the his right hand side, a little distance away, seated on a very fine looking chair, but you wouldn't call it a throne. Is a young woman, and you would have gathered from being in Colchis and sort of speaking to some of the people and so on, that King Aetes is often accompanied by his daughter Medea. And so you can sort of gather that this is Princess Medea with him. She's she is an adult, but she's a young woman, probably 18 or 19 years old. So King Aetes sort of sees you're brought in by his retinue, his household servants, and he looks at you and says, "Ah, well, welcome to my house. What can I do for you?"
I just look at anyone else in the group because one of my aspects is robotic donkeys are better than people, so this is not my forte.
I will bring up the fact is we would like to, I guess, earn some golden fleece off of you, if that's possible.
The golden fleece, you say? Well, that is quite a prize to seek. Why, might I ask, are you looking for the golden fleece? And he sort of gets a little smile on his face.
Well, we are all taking our lovely trials right now together, and we would need that fleece to make a lovely cord to attach two sides to make sure Zeus's lightning can go through it.
Ah, the demi-god trials. Yes, I remember them well. It was through those trials I gained the blessings to reach the uh, heights that I have in my life.
Oh, could you
Yes.
tell us about them?
Well, they change every time they run the trials, so I'm afraid any information I give you would be many, many decades out of date. Even the entrance into the tournament was different in my day. I certainly didn't need Golden Fleece then, because the Golden Fleece is a prize that I've only acquired in recent years. But it is one of my prized possessions. So you say you're looking for the Golden Fleece. I may be convinced to part with it. I have some tasks that I am looking to get accomplished, but they are rather difficult for typical mortals. But being as you are taking the trials, I assume you are all demigods. So perhaps you are the ones who can carry out these tasks for me. I'm going to ask everybody to give me a notice roll.
Oh dear. Notice. What is my notice? Okay, that's
Oh,
not bad.
0.
-1.
I don't like I don't like
Dude.
digital dice. Digital dice are not being nice to me.
All right, so I got a +2, and then I just got a 2. A straight
Wow.
2.
Straight 2? Okay. And Samius got a 5.
Good job.
So the difficulty you were looking to beat was a 4. So as King Aietes starts talking about having tasks that require demigods, Samius, you notice that his daughter Medea gives him a look, sort of a wide-eyed look, and then she sort of flushes and then just kind of looks down and away a little bit and looks kind of abashed. King Aietes continues. There are 2 tasks that I'd like you to accomplish, and if you complete them for me, then I will give you access to the place where I keep the Golden Fleece. The first task is I have a field that I need plowed, but it can only be plowed by a very special creature. It's a creature called a Kalkotoroi, but most of the mortals around here think of it as just a special kind of oxen. I need you to attach a yoke to that oxen to plow the field for me. After you plow that field, then I'd like you to plant some seeds in that field for me, which I will provide. If you do those tasks for me, then I will be happy to show you to where I keep the fleece.
This sounds too easy.
You're gonna give him that gift. Maybe try to get a little bit of information about what this special creature is.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to do actually is look towards his daughter, almost like try to like catch her eye as she kind of like is looking bashfully.
Okay.
And kind of do like a little bow and just say, "My lord, would it be appropriate for me to offer your daughter a gift?"
Okay. That's fair. King Aietes sort of looks over at his daughter, almost seems like a little surprised that she's there even. And he's like, "Oh, yes, Medea, yes, yes, but by all means, I'm always happy to see my daughter happy."
And I don't really know what it would be in here, but like, is there a way for me to do like almost like an insight? Like, is that like another like notice when I go to give her the gift, kind of like what his expression is?
I mean, I would say you can keep an eye on him and see what his expression is. He doesn't seem to. Aietes doesn't seem to. There doesn't seem to be a lot of emotion on his face in general as you go to speak to his daughter.
Okay. Then I would like to offer her the patch. And even ask if there's anything that she needs doing as well, just to kind of figure out, because I feel like there's something going on with her, and I want to figure that out.
Okay. She accepts the patch and she, looks at it and smiles and sort of runs her fingers over it. And she says, "Well, thank you. This is a very lovely gift. I'm very grateful. In fact, I think I probably could use some help. I see on your person you seem to have many implements of homemaking crafts and and I can see from your work here that you do some excellent needlepoint. I was wondering if you could meet with me and perhaps in a side room, and we could discuss how perhaps you could teach me a few things about needlepoint and some of the finer points of that.
I will do a very deep curtsy and almost kind of like with a wink tell her that would be my honor.
Okay.
And then I will kind of rejoin the group.
Okay. So for the group in general, are you accepting King Aiti's tasks?
I'm agreeing
I mean,
to
we
it.
need the fleece.
Okay.
I have a weird feeling this is too easy to be true.
So with that, King Aiti says, well, by all means, when you're ready, my household staff can show you to the field that I need plowed and the oxen, and they can provide you with the yoke to connect to the oxen. And as you get ready to go, Medea turns to her father and says, "With your leave, father, I will go and have that conversation with the Lady Samius." And he says, "Yes, daughter, please go ahead." And so you leave, and Medea follows you out. And once you're sort of outside of the throne room, she dismisses the servants and says, I'll show them the way to come find you when we need to." And once they're away, she looks at you all and says, "I feel I must tell you that my father is not being at all honest in his telling of the tasks that he's setting before you. He has done this many times before to those seeking the fleece, and thus far none of them have left alive. So
Oh,
the called Kotoroi, as he describes, it is in fact an oxen, but the part that he didn't explain is that it's an oxen that is able to breathe fire.
Okay.
Oh.
And it will not accept being yoked easily. You will have to defeat it in combat to be able to attach the yoke to this creature. I do know of the recipe for a salve that, if you rub it on yourself, it can protect you from the flames of the fire-breathing oxen. So I can give you that recipe if you think you may be able to craft such a thing. If you have any skill with potion craft, for example, then you may be able to craft such a thing. The second task that he has for you, planting some seeds. What he has failed to mention is that these seeds are actually dragon's teeth, and when you plant them, they will grow. Each one will grow into a Spartoi, a mechanical warrior. These mechanical warriors will attack anything that they perceive as a threat, and that will definitely include all of you. The Spartoi's main weakness is that they can be fooled into thinking other things are threats relatively easily. So if you can do something to sow confusion in their midst, then you may be able to get them to fight each other rather than yourselves. The third thing that my father hasn't told you, if you do manage to succeed in those two tasks, he will show you where the fleece is. The fleece is kept attached to a tree in Father's garden. but the tree is guarded by a dragon that is known as the Never Sleeping Dragon. The dragon is constantly awake, and therefore you can't sneak past the dragon. However, if you were to brew a sleeping potion and feed it to the dragon, that can put the dragon to sleep. And so, if you are able to create a sleeping potion, that is probably your best way to get past the dragon.
Okay.
That is, I'm afraid, all the help I can offer.
That is a lot of help. Thank you very much, Your Royal Highness. And I'm going to do like a bow.
I will also thank her gracefully. Be like, and it's like, you probably saved our life.
Most definitely.
Most 100%.
I will try and copy what Libra does, but it looks a hell of a lot more awkward.
I'm
Okay.
just gonna be like behind you, getting you like my revenge time. Getting you to bow down a little bit further.
Fever. Yeah.
Just a little bit. Yeah, she had it coming.
Okay, so with that, you've now been you've gained the favor of Princess Medea and gained the information that she has about the task before you. Are there any preparations you'd like to make before you?
I think we should brew a sleeping potion and anti-fire salve. I am for those preparations.
I second that.
We can always split them up too. We're all really good crafters.
Yeah.
It would probably be efficient. Instead of doing one.
I feel like I'd be assisting because I do better with metals than plants. In character, so. But I do like the idea of dividing it up.
But the recipes, do we need to gather any kind of like materials for them? Because if
I would say that there are materials that you would need to acquire, but you can. We can probably sort of collect that up into a crafting roll,
okay,
and just sort of,
Sure.
If there are any particular special preparations or special steps you want to take in terms of acquiring ingredients in the form of creating an advantage that then you could invoke when you're actually doing the craft roll, then you can certainly explain how you'd like to do that. But otherwise, generally, I would say that the crafts roll sort of is what's going to cover finding the ingredients, whether that's foraging for them with Cog or seeking them out in the the markets of Colchis or what have you. That would all be sort of tied up in that role.
okay.
Awesome. Well, let's attempt to make some potions. And salves, not just potions. Salves and potions. They both seem very crucial.
To not die.
Yeah. I am favor of living.
Okay. So what I'm going to say
Although
is that
I personally accept the concept of death. I am in favor of currently living.
But then you'd have to go to your dad and explain why you died on the demi-god trials, and that's even a bigger disappointment thing to face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless
Yeah,
if you
no.
say you did it because you just couldn't stand not being in his glorious light.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to say that. You're right. The disappointment's bad, but like death and life good, but like life currently better. So let's go do that.
okay. So I'm going to say for these, so you have been given the recipes for these two things that you're trying to make. The salve itself, the ointment, is relatively easy to make in the first place. So what I'm going to say is that the craft roll to make the ointment at all, you're just looking to reach a 2. But for every shift that you beat 2 by, will say that you get a bonus free invoke of that salve. So basically, you can use that. The salve itself is going to be an aspect that we create. For every point on your roll beyond 2, you get a free invoke that somebody can use. And basically, the aspect is going to be something that you can invoke if you're doing a defend roll against fire. Then you can invoke that to get a +2 against your defense for fire.
All right.
So who's gonna make the potion? Who's gonna make the salve?
I could probably set up an advantage with the potions with my stunt. Is that how I use my stunt, or I use my aspect for?
I would say that your stunt, because it allows you to craft, the stunt basically gives you the ability to craft potions, and I would say because you are specifically involving the materials help from Cogsley, I would say that would count as sort of one free aspect invoke. So it'll let you craft your potion, and you'll get a +2 to your crafts roll for that.
Yeah, so if I can do the potions with that stunt, then I think that would make sense.
The potion, I would say, is more difficult to make, but you only need to make one of it. So the potion, I would say, you're looking for a 4 to make a potion that would be of the quality you would need to put to sleep the never sleeping dragon.
Okay.
So if we split us up, we can have team brother and sister make the salves. And
Love that.
Yeah, that
team
feels like a good bonding moment, especially after what just happened in your father's forge there.
Oh, I love hanging out with my sister.
Just saying, you might need to rekindle that fire, so to speak.
No, we
Also-
don't want fire. That's why we're doing the salve.
It was supposed to be a Hephaestus joke. Okay.
Well,
And then you and me are on team other thing. Let's do it. I believe in us.
Carolyn, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I think she muted too.
Sorry, I was typing
I've-
and I didn't want to.
Part of me wants to call you guys Team Life and Death.
I like
I
that.
love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
again,
you know what?
I'm pro life right now, so let's hope the life one wins. I'm like pro living. Let's live.
And in case you guys want to use any aspects or anything, Clan Oriana, thank you for the donation. $25 donation, so that means everyone gets another fate point.
Hooray!
And you get a fate
Yay!
point. And you get a fate point. Okay.
Yeah, okay, so... Because I'm going to use a stunt which uses a fate point.
Your stunt won't use up a fate point.
Oh, okay.
Because it's a stunt.
Right, okay.
So, but if you want to invoke any aspects as part of that as well, then you'd have to use a fate point to invoke aspects.
Miss Amanda, which one are we making again?
We're making the potion for the sleeping dragon. No, the never sleeping
Okay,
dragon.
yeah, I'm gonna evoke some, use some fate points. I really want that one to succeed.
Yeah, so I want to invoke, so I'm using one of my stunts, but I also want to use my aspect with Cogsley, my relationship with Cogsley.
Okay.
And his keen sense of smell, if he can help.
Sure. Yeah. In terms of sniffing out the right herbs and
Yeah.
mushrooms that you need to brew up this potion. Yeah.
Yeah. And then do I just roll my crafts?
Yep, you'd roll your crafts. And
Okay.
Libra, are you helping in any specific way? Are you taking the help action, or are you looking to do any create advantage actions or anything like that?
I'm gonna do the create advantage thing, and I'm going to, three-headed dog. I assume that I have extra senses on the dogs because it's a dog, even though it's a mechanical dog.
Sure.
So can I get those extra senses to eat? I know that Cogsley is already sniffing for ingredients, but can I get them to like sniff and smell things to perhaps help like the actual brewing stuff? Like, does the pH seem right? Is the, more of like the scientific side as opposed to like the ingredient side?
Sure. I'll go for that. So you want
Okay.
to roll to create an advantage.
I would love
That
to, yes.
okay. So let's make that a. Let's see. You're using your robotic puppy. I'm just trying to figure out what skill would be most appropriate for um, helping out. I would say you could probably roll either a
I was
probably a crafts roll, I guess, because it
okay.
is your
I was thinking crafts. Yeah. Okay.
yeah your
Okay.
dog that you have crafted. So I would say you're rolling that, and we'll call a success a 3 or higher.
It's like Inceptions. My craft is helping us make a craft, make another craft.
If anyone's played Final Fantasy, that's actually how the crafting
Oh
system
no,
works.
I opposite of help. Oh, that's a
Oh,
bad roll. That's a real bad roll. I might
so
have to
yeah,
make a lot of adjustments to my dog. The dog is no longer perfect. I mean, I love the dog, but like there's some upgrades in the dog's future.
Rachel saying a dog's
um,
not perfect. Oh my god, this must be a horrible
Uh,
roll.
so
the dog
if you
the
want, you
dog's
can.
nose. My real dog has a nose that doesn't work either. So I get it.
So if you want, you can invoke a couple of aspects to bring that up to a success. So if you wanted to spend 2 fate points, you could tag, say, your perfectionist aspect and your relationship aspect with your three-headed puppy. That would give you a +4, which would bring that up to a 3 as a success, but it would cost you 2 fate points. Or you can leave it as a fail, and then the aspect won't get created.
Nope, let's do the 2 fate points there because
Okay.
I really think that my dog just almost had it. I mean, like I must not have had the right treats. I really have to come up with the positive reinforcement a little bit more, and we really need the dragon to fall asleep. And like the dog just doesn't like nap time. Perhaps it just doesn't like the idea of a sleeping potion and doesn't like powering down for the night.
Okay, so we're gonna say we've got an aspect here now that is, oops, it's not an aspect, it's just a card. This is an
I keep
aspect.
saying dog, and my real dog is now jumping at me.
Yeah, she definitely
Um,
Hi,
doesn't power
baby.
down either.
Hi, baby.
so we're gonna
Uh,
call that uh, oversight from Sir B. How's that spelled? Sir
He's the
B.
second. Yeah, he was the second one. Sorbet was like the first the first iteration. Then I made adjustments, so it's now B. We're gonna go on to Model C soon.
Okay, and
That'll be the upgrade it knows.
that was a success with those 2 fate points. So that gives you 1 free invoke on that aspect. And yes, so Samius, so you were going to make your crafts roll to craft the potion, and you're using your stunt. So that'll give you a +2.
Okay.
And then I'm assuming, Libra, you're giving your 1 free invoke to Samius for this potion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can invoke that aspect for free as well, and then from there
Okay.
you can see if you need to spend any other fate points to try to invoke anything else.
Yeah,
Get
so
you
I'll
the +4. You'll need a 4 to successfully create the potion.
okay, so I get a +2 from my stunt and a +1 from the aspect from Libra.
You'll get a +2 from using that free invoke on the
Ooh.
aspect. So
Okay.
you've got a +4 on top of your 4 crafts.
Okay.
So you should be pretty well.
Hey. Okay.
So yeah,
I got
you
an
hit it.
8.
You hit it anyway. So yeah, that's an 8. So that's a success with style.
Wow.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to create another scene aspect that we'll call this a sleeping draft, and we'll give that 3 free invokes. So when you're when you are dealing with the dragon, if you are making use of the sleeping draft, then you can invoke that for pluses to your roll for
Okay.
attacks, overcomes, however you're using the sleeping draft on the dragon.
Sweet.
Okay. Now to the brother-sister team who are working on the fireproof salve.
So I would know that my sister's a lot better with working the mechanical side of the crafting than the non-mechanical side of the crafting.
Yeah.
So I am going to pre-prepare all the herbs and that ahead of time so she can easily mix it together.
Okay.
So she'll be finishing the craft, I'll be preparing everything to make her life easy.
Okay.
Mise en place.
So are you looking to do that as just a help action, or are you looking to create an advantage?
I want to create an advantage this time, because this time I'm
Okay.
going to be working on actively on everything. Make sure that once it's all ready, it's like cooking. I'm gonna have all the ingredients set up that she doesn't have to measure it herself. She can just pour it in the right order.
Oh,
Okay.
that'd be nice when I'm cooking. I like that idea. Yeah.
Okay. So in that case, I will call that a crafts roll as well, and you're looking to hit a 2 as a success for the creating the advantage that Adina will be able to use in her crafts roll.
4.
4. All right. So that is a success. One or two shifts more than the target. So that is a success. So we will call that an aspect, and we'll call that mise en place. And that gets 1 free invoke.
All right. So I guess I'm just sort of sitting there, try to take a deep breath because this is not my comfort zone, and even though I know I can invoke it afterward, I'd kind of like to invoke it now, both for narrative purposes and because if we have extra of this salve, I think that's a good thing considering how many fire-breathing creatures we're going to be looking after. So I'd like to invoke. It's a trouble, so I can still invoke that as an aspect, correct?
You can, yeah.
Okay.
Troubles are aspects.
Prove you're worth it. So basically, she kind of always felt like she needed to prove herself and do the best and be that like A+ student. So Daddy kept loving her. So yes.
Okay. So give me a crafts roll, and you've also got a free invoke on the mise en place that Arlen has prepared for you.
Okay.
I'm gonna use it anyway, so the more the better.
Okay. So I think this will be pretty good because we have the 2 from my aspect, the 2 from the mise en place, which I'm going to take, and then I have 3 here. So that is 7, and then this is a crafts roll, so I have another 4. So that is 11.
11. Okay. So the difficulty to create it in the first place was a 2, so you've definitely created it, and that gives you
Okay.
9 free invokes. So we'll call
Nice.
this fireproof
We each get 2.
salve, and we're gonna add a block point counter, and we'll make that 9 free invokes of the fireproof salve. Okay, and the mise en place is done. Okay, so with that prepared, are there any other preparations you'd like to make before you head out in pursuit of completing King Aiti's tasks?
Could we see about like a smoke bomb or a flash bomb of sorts to create chaos from those dragon teeth automaton things?
What makes them fight? Can they see who they're fighting? Do they know each other?
So, as Medea put it, they will attack anything that they consider to be a threat. And they are very simplistic in terms of what they think of as a threat. So, if they think that an attack has come from somewhere, then they will fight. Otherwise, they'll basically fight whatever is sort of in front of them. So,
Could we
yeah,
like
they're
maybe make like I'm almost thinking like a water infused from a tea. Could we make like a really smelly tea, like mint, and then just like spray it on them? Be like, it's an attack to your nose. You have to attack the smelly ones.
I vote yes. I hate mint, so I vote yes.
Like if you do
I
that on your windowsill, spiders won't come in. So like,
but
Oh, really?
you
That's cool.
but if you are actively doing it after they come out, wouldn't they treat it like a skunk spraying them and try to attack the skunk?
ooh, could we do
Could
the
we,
seed
like-
first?
You're
Could
gonna
we
plow the-
question why the king wants to make all these warriors that are just going to attack everything? Like, doesn't that put his populace at risk?
Oh, huh. I didn't think about that.
Like, I realize it's probably to kill us so we don't get the Golden Fleece. Totally understand the
Yeah.
rationale behind it. Not for it,
Mhm.
but, like, you know, I can get behind his rationale. But, like, afterwards, aren't these things, like, a massive threat to, like, everyone?
Maybe
Unless they
we should.
kill each other.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe we just make sure they
Yeah.
kill each other. Can we maybe have it so that that skunk spraying thing is like a little. I don't want to say like the skunk spray thing gave me the idea like a little magnetic canister, so we'd like throw it like a grenade, and then it mechanically attaches to one of them.
So I've been watching Hermes hover boots. That way we can just get away from them.
I mean, not bad. Those are
How do we
pretty.
once this so are these seeds gonna be like as soon as they touch the soil are they gonna grow or do we have to bury them before they grow?
So what you've been told is that once the field is plowed, then when you what Medea told you is that once the seeds are planted, they will immediately spring up into Spartoi warriors.
So why can't we do that like mechanized thresher thing and it sprout the seeds for us? Like we plow the fields and then we just like drop the seeds from above, or we put all the seeds like in this like mechanized pressured pod. And then
I was thinking that too. Could we plant them from afar? Or
I mean, I
is this like the certain type of crop that is particularly, I don't know, vulnerable to frost? Like, could we make it them delay in like sprouting by making the conditions poor?
as far as the like above thing that Amanda mentioned, I do have a flying donkey, so
oh, I forgot it flew.
The question I have is like do we have to bury it?
I don't
Because
think
even
so.
if we drop it, but even then just pouring enough water on it will naturally bury it.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen those lawn irrigators, like the big things that you push over your lawn that creates holes. What if we did
Yeah.
that and then drop them into the holes? Then we don't even like, you know, they are like in the ground.
But yeah, like we
Nothing-
would plow the field first.
I feel like with me being a perfectionist, this makes sense, but I do think we might be over engineering the problem
I think we
or
are.
the solution.
We're team engineering a big brain.
Yeah.
I'll
I feel like
remind you that Medea
mechanics would
said that.
disagree.
I'll remind you that Medea said that these warriors are really not very smart, so it's very easy to convince them that things are threats. Like, if they happen to get bumped from behind, say, and one of its
Okay.
fellow warriors was behind it, they might take that the wrong way.
Okay. So we
I-
just need to do like a whole bunch of tricksy stuff and then like get out.
Peace
How
out.
about this sounds a little less up my alley? A landmine. not a big exploding one, but one that will fire something that might just cause them to be bumped in that.
Ooh.
And to go in the opposite direction, and to perceive the threat in the opposite direction of us. So that's a good idea. Okay.
Yeah, so if they start chasing us, we know where it is. They don't know where it is. They step on it, we go, and they turn around.
Peace.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that idea.
And then we peace out. Cheese it.
And then we just peace out. And
'Cause
will
we've
they just
planted
go?
it,
Okay.
and they're going to take care of themselves.
Yes.
Could I craft some type of a thing that, makes maybe not even a landmine, but like an underground vibration to cause them to kind of shift and tumble? Like a localized earth tremor?
Sure. Yeah. You can try to craft something like that.
Is it bad? Like, part of me was just thinking, like, little thing that just fires out a bunch of bouncy balls.
I love the
Little
cat.
rubber balls.
Love that.
A bunch of little rubber balls just like bounce, 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 bounce,
What?
bounce.
Oh my goodness, what do you want?
Puppy cam.
Hi.
Aw.
Hi, puppy girl. Kisses? No? Okay. Hey. Shall I try to craft something?
I'd like
Sure.
to help.
Bouncy balls? I personally like that idea the best.
I don't know
Okay.
fully if they'll make are bouncy balls in this universe.
They are now. Rubber
They
Could we
are
make
now.
something
Oh yeah.
something
I-
that like
Like even if we just
Yeah.
wrap a ball in rubber, like that's essentially what a bouncy ball is. It's just rubber.
I'm willing to
We
say
just
that
want it to-
in this steampunk ancient Greece that somebody's come up with some bouncy enough
What?
rubber.
So there we go.
my glasses?
Because I'm just
You're not
thinking,
helping.
the only reason why I thought the bouncy balls is because if it hits one, it might bounce off and hit another one.
No, I like
Yeah,
that
I like
because
this
it
idea.
has more spread. Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
so we want essentially like one of the baseball ball throwers.
Yep.
And it can be spring
And we can
loaded.
put it-
So when they step on it, and it just goes up. There's a spring.
And turn around so that like it just shoots bouncy balls off continuously in 360 degrees.
So we're making a bouncy ball sprinkler.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That activates when you step on it.
Okay.
Oh my.
Okay.
Okay,
All
this
right,
feels like a very high roll to do.
I would
Anyone-
say that's going to be a 4 that you're looking for. You're looking
Okay,
to
for
hit a
craft.
great. Yeah, for
I
craft.
think we all have good crafting.
Yeah, my craft is a 4.
Same.
My craft is also a 4.
Can I
Mine
just...
is a 3, so I'm happy to help.
Okay.
Maybe, depending on what the dice
Could
do, I might
we
be happy to help.
Split up because if we want, I might be able to make like the sprinkler mechanically thing because I
can make-
have a garden and you could make the balls.
I can make the bouncy balls.
So...
If we have someone who's really good at putting it all back together.
I like blueprints, so
So you could help again. You could help me with the sprinkler shooter.
So our usual divide. Team siblings, team life and death.
Love this.
that's fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
We're just gonna
All right.
assembly line the bouncy balls.
Okay, so let's start with team brother and sister this time first. How do you want to do this? Are you going to do it with a straight roll with a help action? Does one of you want to do a create advantage roll, and then try to create something for the other to invoke?
I'm
Is it still going to be a 4 for us to try and get bouncy balls?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you're looking for a total of 4 to create the if both teams manage to hit a 4, then we'll say that the final product comes together at the quality you're looking for.
okay. I'm just trying to think of a way that you can help make bouncy balls. I will.
I think
Go ahead.
it's one of those things where I can't think of any like ways to like give you an advantage on this one.
Kind of.
Rubber comes from sap, which comes from trees.
The,
That's all I got.
the only thing my brain keeps going back to is these should be colorful, and I'm going back to the conversation that Libra
No,
had.
not orange. No.
So I'm just collecting all
Carolyn-
the paints.
I did years of color theory and
I know.
like paint creation. I got more for you.
No. Ugh.
So
Um,
I don't know.
My
Maybe-
mental stresses can't take it.
Maybe I like prep the rubbers in the different colors and the consistencies, and like you could mold them or vice versa.
Oh yeah, because you guys work like your father does all like the hot fire pressy stuff, so you can make like a fire press.
I
Like a mold.
am going to look straight at my sister and going and say, I bet you on your dad's honor that I can make more than you.
Oh god.
On your dad's. It's only your dad's when he's.
I
Oh, I like that competition. That feels like a potential
Competition.
advantage there.
Yeah.
Invoke the
Sibling
aspect
competition?
of competition.
Alright.
Yeah.
Sibling competition.
Sibling
Sibling rivalry here.
competition.
So I am going to try and give the advantage because you're going to have to try and beat me. If that makes
Otherwise,
sense.
Dad's gonna
Yeah.
hear about it.
Well, that's
And
gonna hear.
Dad's going to hear about it.
That's gonna hear about it either way. Because if I win, I want to brag about it. If he wins, I want to brag about him, so their relationship gets better.
On the other side, if on my side of the family, if I win, I will probably just tell other people to tell him for me. And if you win, I won't tell anyone.
All right, make those balls.
All right.
Brightly
so
colored
craft
ones.
roll.
Do you want me to roll
Are we
to
both
try and...
rolling?
What would you want me
Yeah.
to roll to cause this?
Is this a contest?
If you'd like it to be, I mean, yeah, I thought you were working together, but if you'd like to hold a contest, we certainly can.
I'm
just-
trying to basically both make myself more encouraged to do more, but also trying to encourage her to do more as well.
Okay. I would say if the goal is to try to, work together as, as best as possible, then I would say that this would either be a teamwork action, with just a straight plus to the roll, or you can roll to create an advantage of, sort of like, what would we call that? Like competitiveness engaged kind of aspect. To be
Sibling rivalry of Doom.
Of
Bounty
Doom.
House.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, if you want to try to set up an aspect, then you can roll for that, or you can just do the straight teamwork roll.
I'm gonna try and set up an aspect for this one, just
Okay.
because I will egg my sister on for the idea that I can craft better than she can.
Okay. I'm gonna say that for that you're gonna be looking to roll either a provoke or an empathy.
I'm gonna
depending
roll
on-
an empathy.
Empathy? Okay.
Yeah. I have a
Ooh.
2.
A 2. Okay. I'm gonna say that ties the difficulty. So you create an aspect of sibling rivalry, but there's no free invokes on it. But a fate point can still be spent to invoke it if needed.
You know what? I have a lot of fate points at this point, so I'll use it.
Okay.
All right. And I'm assuming mine is a craft roll.
Yes. Yeah. Craft roll. And you're looking for a 4 for the.
Okay. So I'm just doing math. My dice was -1. My +4 on that, and then that's 3, and then +2 is 5.
Okay. That's a success.
Just
So
me-
we have bouncy balls.
Just me muttering.
Sweet.
I'll show you this.
Okay.
Mine are pretty.
So
They're
now,
yellow.
Team Life and Death.
Are you sure they're
making a
yellow
sprinkler.
or are they daffodil?
No. No.
Daffodil's
No.
not a technical paint
Okay.
color. So when it comes to this isn't color theory. So like color theory is not where I shine mechanics. That's where I've really got a lot of things to talk about. So
I
I'd like
think it
to
works-
use the
I
I'd
think it
like
works
to use
better
the
than
help by
daffodils, not
talking through
colors.
it.
Okay.
But a crafts roll, I assume, is what you want for like the help from me, or is that how help works again?
So if you're doing the help, then Samius will make the roll and get a
Okay.
straight +1 because you are helping with your crafts ability as well.
Okay, that's what I will do. I don't have enough fate
Okay.
points to use any other things.
No, that's a stretch. Okay, so I will roll my crafts, and I get a +1 from Libra.
From
What do I
me.
need?
Yeah. So you're looking for a 4, so you can roll it, and then if you need to invoke any aspects, then you can see if there are any aspects that make sense.
Okay, here we go. Ah, I got a
Crafts.
3. Oh wait, that's a 4.
That's a 4, yeah, with the
Yeah.
+1 from Libra. So that's a success. So we have
Sweet.
successfully created a pressure triggered
Ball launcher?
bouncy ball sprinkler launcher.
That sounds perfect for a dog too.
So
Love it.
it does. It does. So we're gonna add an aspect to the scene, and we're gonna call it a bouncy ball sprinkler launcher. Yeah, and we've got that aspect on the scene now. It's a thing that's true that you have in your possession.
Sweet.
So,
Love it.
So before we continue, let's take a really brief break, and then we will continue on to facing these challenges from King Aetes.
Sweet.
All right.
Go
We'll see you
him.
soon. Hello, we are back.
All right. So I think we have completed all the preparations to start undertaking the tasks of King Aetes.
Nice.
So if everybody is on board, then we can proceed on to our next scene um, with trying to yoke our fire-breathing bull. So
That's just a
you
great phrase.
so you return to the house of Aedes and inform the household staff that you're ready to start on Aedes' tasks, and so they lead you out to this field and they give you this yoke, and so it's sort of it's not sort of the typical a typical yoke like you would see on a normal oxen that just kind of goes over its neck. It's sort of it's a piece that goes over the neck and extends out, but it has two more pieces that sort of like seem to extend over the top. And they just explain you just sort of once the creature is ready to be yoked, you can place it on its neck and you place the two pieces that come out over the front over the creature's horns, and then the rest will be taken care of. And then they leave you to it. The staff members don't want anything to do with this particular creature. So I'm going to make this public. And so you see this creature in this field, and it is a very large bull, and you can see that it has steam coming from its nose as it moves around, and there's also steam actually coming from the tips of its horns as it moves around this field. And yeah, so it's moving around. It hasn't really taken much notice of you at this point. You have been informed by Medea that you are going to need to essentially knock this thing out to be able to yoke it. So, what would you like to do?
Did we only craft one sleepy potion?
You only have the one sleeping potion, yeah.
It is a really good potion.
If we put the fireproof salve on its mouth with a muzzle. No? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I might be able to MacGyver something like that, but... So who here actually has any combat expertise?
I make weapons. Does that count?
Oh,
Uh-oh.
Samius has the shoot skill.
Oh, I do, yes.
1 point in shoot.
I have 1 point in shoot and 1 point in fight.
Let's see.
Okay. Arlen
Sweet.
can do a little bit of fighting.
I have 1 point in fight and 0 in shoot.
Yeah, and
My
Idea can do a little bit of fighting. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So, if we take the salve, and I'm almost wondering, like, if I can take one of the salves, put it on, like, a really tasty food, and, like, shoot it into its mouth, so that as it's eating the food, it salves its own mouth, and then it can't breathe fire on us?
I'm down with this plan. Whether it is that's how the salve works, I'm not sure, but I am down with this plan.
Long enough that we can get behind it to, like, yoke it?
Well, you are going to have to essentially take this bull out to be able to yoke it. So you are going to have to knock down its stress
actually
boxes.
take it out. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No overthinking. Just punching.
I'm gonna
I
shoot
mean,
bouncy balls at it.
you can still try to do whatever you want to do, because fate, even during conflicts, is all about the narrative.
Yeah.
So you can absolutely try to do anything you want to do, and you can absolutely spend your turn doing create an advantage attempts rather than trying to actually hurt the thing. So you can set up aspects for other people to invoke when they're doing a fight or a shoot or whatever. But yeah, you will have to cause some stress to this
Okay.
particular creature.
So
I'm
since-
wondering.
Hello? Oh, okay.
I'm wondering what
Sorry, I was
materials
muted.
we
I didn't realize
have
that.
on us right now.
What's that? Sorry.
What materials do we have on us right now?
I mean, in Fate, generally speaking, it's you don't really have an inventory per se. So I think you would have anything that you think it would make sense for you to have. If you want to say that you have something a little bit out of the ordinary, then that's a case where spending a fate point to make a declaration might make sense. So if there's something that your character wouldn't just kind of naturally be carrying around, but you want to say in this case you happen to have it with you, then you could spend a fate point and make that declaration.
I will probably have rope on me.
Does this
I
does
think
I'm
that's
wondering-
reasonable. Yeah,
does the stress have to be physical or can it be mental?
it can be either.
Because
Is
In-
this a
in-
mechanical bowl or is this like a live bowl?
Um,
Like a flesh and blood one?
from what it looks like to you, it appears to be flesh and blood, but it's hard to tell from this distance for sure.
Okay.
can
Okay.
I try to evoke an advantage by making traps with rope and other things that will get caught on it. So if it charges us, I can go and we can use other things to either slow it down or hurt it in the process.
Sure.
Ooh,
Yeah, I'll
it's gonna
say.
wrap it around its legs to trip it.
So that would get it on its horn to try and twist its neck, etc. Like anything that could help us not get impaled by one of the flaming horns.
We're doing rodeo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. In that case, I will say if you're looking to create an advantage, then I will say that we are going to start the conflict. And so this is our first time getting into a conflict in this session. So I'll explain a little bit about conflicts. So conflicts are when violence or coercion is available and the two sides have the chance to harm each other. Conflict takes place over a series of exchanges. Um, Characters act in turn order, describing what they're trying to do, and then rolling the skill action that fits. And then when all from one side have conceded or been taken out, the conflict ends. So the way that this is going to work is turn order in Fate is not decided by something like a roll like in D&D, rolling initiative or something like that. Instead, we do what's called popcorn order. So whoever's acting first, and it sounds like Arlen is the one who's going to be trying to create an advantage as the first action. They will take their action. Then when they finish their turn, they choose who goes next from among everybody who hasn't gone yet. So in this case, Arlen will be able to choose from Idina, Samius, Libra, and the Bull. Then whoever Arlen chooses goes after that, and they choose from everybody else who has not taken a turn yet. And things proceed that way until the end of the turn. So when you're deciding who goes next, you want to keep in mind the fact that whoever ends this turn has the option of going first next turn as well. So they could potentially get back-to-back turns. So you want to consider that when you're considering whether or not to leave your opponents to have the last actions in a turn.
Let's maybe
I
not
love
do
how
that.
spicy this is. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah. So anyway, so we're gonna proceed into a conflict, and so the first to act is going to be Arlen, who is going to be taking the create an advantage action.
I'm gonna be making rope traps and anything else to either slow it down or hurt it.
Okay. So yeah, we'll call this a create an advantage roll. And I will say for this purpose, you're looking to get a 2. So a 2 will be considered a tie. So that will, and we can resolve it once you make your roll.
It'll be a 4.
A 4. All right, so that's a success. So you create an advantage. We'll create an aspect on the scene, which is rope traps, and
Can I
because it's
still
a
use a fate point to increase that number to get more advantages? Even if I know I succeeded?
So you can't, with a single action in a conflict, you can't create more than one advantage.
Okay.
So you succeeded. A success is beating the target number by 1 or 2. And so with that success, you've created the rope traps aspect with 1 free invoke. If you did want to invoke an aspect to push it to a success with style, so winning by 3 shifts or succeeding by 3 shifts or more, then that will give you an extra free invoke. So you'd be paying a fate point to get an extra free invoke on there that you could hand off to somebody else. It's up to you whether or not that's worth it.
I think in this case it might be worth it just because our lives are on the line.
Okay.
I'm going to invoke the aspect. Don't have it? I will make it.
Okay.
Where basically if I'm going around picking up random things that might hurt it, that might also get snagged on, etc. Like I am MacGyvering everything out of this.
Okay. So that brings that up to a success with style. So we'll put a second free invoke on your rope traps. Okay, so now you choose who goes next in popcorn order. You can choose from any of your companions or the bull.
The hard one. I want at least one of us to go first before that happens. Let's let Samius go next.
Okay.
Now I have no idea mechanically in Fate if this is how it works.
Okay.
We already made the sleeping drought and there's a point counter still on it. Can I use those in regards to that aspect to like invoke something?
So the sleeping draft aspect basically just means you have a sleeping draft with you. The point counters are sort of how many invokes you get of that. So yeah, if there's a way that you want to use that sleeping draft, like if there's a way that you can invoke it in whatever action you're looking to take, then you can invoke that to get a plus on the roll that you're making.
So I'm wondering if I can either invoke that or have the other thing where it's like I invoke that I have this item where we have made like maybe a little bit extra that I can put on like a tasty food, hoping that he doesn't fall asleep, but just kind of gives him a little bit drowsy. So like when he goes to trip, maybe he's a little bit more like tumbly, if that makes sense.
Okay, so this sounds to me like you're also looking to set up an aspect, basically. You're trying to apply an aspect to the bull of being drowsy.
Yes.
So you're not trying to harm it directly. You're just trying
No.
to sort of set it up for
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't want to take from like the one sleeping potion we have. If we had like, if I can invoke the fact that like maybe we have like a little bit extra.
Yeah, well, so the I'll say that like the aspect, in general, the way that aspects work is they're considered sticky. So like they
Okay.
stick around for as long as kind of narratively makes sense. So especially since it was created with some free invokes on it, I'm gonna say that it's reasonable to say that you have enough to go around that you can use some here, and you're not going to be left with none left for the dragon. I would say if you went through all of the free invokes and then one more paid invoke, that's probably the point where then maybe the sleeping draft might be running low.
Okay. Yeah. So that is what I would like to do, and then if I need to use like my shoot action to like toss it into its mouth.
Okay.
Like a tasty treat or something.
Okay. I'm going to say that since you're trying to sort of aim this thing at the bull, this is going to be an opposed roll. So you can do your create an advantage roll using your shoot skill, and then if you're invoking the sleeping draft aspect, that'll give you an extra +2 on top of your shoot. And the bull is going to roll. In this case, it's gonna be a flat roll because the bull doesn't have any particular defense against things being shot in its mouth skills. So it's just going to be doing a straight roll, and we will see what the outcome is. This is my first roll of the night.
I got a 5 because you said it was +2, I think.
It looks like you rolled your resources skill there.
Oh
not your
my
shoot
gosh!
skill.
How did I? Whoopsie. Never mind. 2.
Dream sequence.
2, and then you're invoking the sleeping draft aspect as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take 1 of the free invokes off of the sleeping draft. So that gives you a 4 overall. I rolled 2 pluses and 2 minuses for a total of 0. So that would be success with style, which means that we are going to, again, create an aspect, but in this case, it's going to be an aspect on the bull itself. So aspect drowsy, and we're going to give that, because it was a success with style, I'll just use plus signs here. So I'm going to put 2 plus signs to indicate that's 2 free invokes on the drowsy aspect.
Okay.
Yeah, and now you can choose who goes next from among Idina, Libra, and the bull.
Okay. Is there someone particularly that wants to go?
Well, I think Rachel may be frozen.
Oh.
So
I do see.
Yes.
Are you still with us, Rachel? Oh, there we go. I think you might be muted.
You seem to be muted.
Am I?
You're back now.
There we go.
Yay!
Okay. Sorry, my computer froze.
All right.
Or do you think maybe the bull should go first now that he's drowsy and the trap set up, and then you two capitalize after him?
I mean, I am willing to go after the bull. I'm willing to go and then give it to Libra. I'm willing to go and give it to the bull. I'm fine with all the options.
Okay, I think I'm gonna give it to the bull to see if our traps worked, and then if it didn't, you two are there to kind of reset up new ones.
Okay. So what we're gonna start with here is the bull, after just having this sort of fruit laced with sleeping draft shot into its mouth. It's going to be sort of surprised, and now it's taking notice of the fact that you're there, and it's after it eats the fruit, it starts to look a little woozy, but it sort of like shakes its head and then breathes out some steam out through its nose, and it's going to try to charge at your group. And it's going to, let me see, who is it going to charge at? I'll do a roll to see who specifically it's going to charge at. What's that?
Could I make myself more of a target?
Well, that would be an action on your turn, I think. But okay. I did actually roll. I was thinking it would be sort of on a 1. It would be Arlen, and I rolled a 1, so it is going to be Arlen anyway. So the bull is going to charge at Arlen. It's making an attack roll with its charging ability, and so you will be rolling a defend roll using whatever ability, depending on how you want to defend. You can choose how you want to do that. You can choose to use athletics to try to jump out of the way, or okay. So yeah, so you can do your athletics roll, and I will do the charging roll. And on this defend roll, if you want, you can use invokes of things like the rope traps or the fact that the bull is drowsy.
Nice.
Let's see what I get first. Ooh, I should probably do this. All the negative rolls.
So the bull rolled a 0.
Oh.
What happens if we tie?
So if you tie, so on the bull is making an attack, and so on a tie with defense, the bull will get a boost, which is basically a one-time use invoke of an aspect that the aspect itself will go away after the bull uses the aspect.
Okay, I will definitely use the rope traps that I set up then.
Okay. So in that case, that will will take off one of the free invokes from the rope traps. That brings your defend up to a success. And so that denies the enemy's action. So basically, it charges at you. You sort of dodge to get out of the way, and it looks like he was gonna come close enough to you to sort of like take you off balance. He probably wouldn't have gotten a solid hit on you, but he might have taken you off balance. But then he gets sort of snagged up in the rope traps and is unable to actually reach you at all. And so that is the bull's turn. And so then we'll go popcorn order over to, let's say, Libra. Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So I didn't take any combat stuff, but is it possible, especially since the bull has acted and I see stuff going around, for me to do an investigate roll to essentially also set up an aspect for like the next person who might attack, if any of us should choose to do so, to kind of like find a point of weakness?
So
Sure,
work
yeah.
on what I was planning to do.
Was it? Sorry.
No. I'm saying this works well because.
Oh, it works
Yeah.
well with what you're going to do. Okay,
Yep.
perfect. Would that be an investigate then?
Yeah, you can absolutely do an investigate, and you're basically looking for some sort of a weakness to.
Yeah, a
apply.
more squishy, fleshy area that looks like it's less, tough-eyed or whatever, or that spot, that vertebrae to hit that might knock it out quicker.
Yep.
I got a 6.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
I will do a roll to see how the bull does in terms of protecting its
Hiding that?
its squishy bits. So the bull rolled a 1, so you beat it by 5 shifts, which is a success with style. So that's an aspect with 2 free invokes. So we'll call that aspect
Weak spot?
sized up.
Oh, size
On the you can call it something else
Yeah.
if you have another
I like
name.
that. That's good.
And we get 2 free invokes on that. So that's all set. And now you don't have any choice in popcorn order because there's only one person who hasn't acted this turn.
Not
I
so
choose Carolyn.
tough-eyed.
So Idina gets the next action.
Okay. I don't necessarily want to invoke it, but just so narratively it makes sense. You guys are all trying to non-violently down this bull, and, I'm not a fighter, I'm a creator, so I'm just like, you know what? I've seen maybe Dad wrestle with someone as fun, so I'm just gonna run in and try and essentially kind of wrestle this bull into submission, rodeo
Okay.
style. So kind of
All
try
right.
and use that weak point to sort of direct him into the remaining ropes, using the drowsiness and just sort of like grabbing the horns and just be like, whee!
Okay. So this would be so you're making an attack, and this would be a fight roll. So give me your attack with a fight roll, and I will roll the bull's defense.
And I can invoke some of the other aspects, like the rope traps.
Yep,
And
you can. I mean, you can choose after you make your
Okay.
roll whether or not you want to invoke, but yeah.
I keep forgetting about that. We're probably going to be invoking because I got all blanks and I have a 1 in fight.
Okay. Yep, the bull rolled a 1 as well for its defense. So currently, without invoking any aspects, you would be tied, which would mean you would do no stress damage, but would gain a boost. But you can choose to do some invokes if you would like to beat it by some stresses.
Yeah, let's. If no one minds, I'm going to invoke both of them so we could get some maybe style and some extra stuff. Like, I'll listen to that, like, maybe weak or sensitive spot in the neck that Libra found, and then I'm just like, have a little extra pressure to toward the ropes.
Okay, and are you invoking Drowsy as well, or?
Is Drowsy here too? Yes, it
Drowsy is here too, yep.
All right, let's go for it.
So, you're gonna go.
Full in.
This is. I'm assuming that that everybody's okay with those free aspects because technically they belong to whoever placed them.
Oh yes. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
May I
Oh,
please
that's
use your
why I
aspects? Please.
Okay.
That's literally why I put them there.
All right. So that's an extra +6. So now you've hit the now you've beaten the bull by 6 stress, and so or by 6 shifts. Sorry. And so it's going to mark off its 3 stress tracks, and it's going to take a consequence of, let's call it, grabbed by the horns. And that's takes off 2 stress, and there's still 1 stress left over. So you successfully take out the bull. So, yeah, if you want to describe how you knock this thing unconscious.
I'm just thinking rodeo style. I won't lie, this got inspired by that like Ted Lance thing we watched where he had the rodeo, the bull wrestler.
Fair enough.
And basically she just sees everyone pitching in. It's just kind of a moment of panic, and then like this bull is getting way too close to her half brother, so she just sort of charges in screaming like a mad person, and you guys probably wouldn't know what the hell she was doing until she's like on top of this thing just trying to like head wrestle it down. It is not graceful. But it's not like looking like the bull is in any extreme amount of pain either. Like,
no, this thing you've knocked this thing unconscious. It's like it's down on the ground now, and it is thoroughly beaten. But yeah, now you are
go team.
You are able to yoke the bull if you so choose.
Yeah, let's not. That's the whole. Of course, we're gonna do that.
Okay, so you're gonna put the yoke on the bull?
Yep.
All right. So you take this sort of metal yoke, and the bull is just kind of it's coming around now enough that it's like waking up, but it's thoroughly cowed, I guess, to use a punny kind of word, and it's no longer aggressive. And you place this yoke over its neck, and these 2 pieces come out over the horns. And as I said, there was steam coming out from the horns, and as the steam from this bull goes into this yoke, the yoke actually some flaps open in the back of the yoke, and out of the back of the yoke come these straight sort of crossbars that then press down into the earth behind the bull, and basically turn into like little augers. And so then the bull starts to walk its way around the field, and these augers are turning the earth and plowing the field to get it ready. So you've taken care of the fire-breathing bull, and now you have plowed earth. So you are ready. You've been given the bag of seeds, which you know from Medea are actually teeth from the Never Sleeping Dragon. And so your next task is to plant those seeds.
Okay. Should we set up the bouncy ball sprinkler kind of in the opposite direction from the direction we're going. That way we set that off and kind of, take off the opposite direction.
As long as it's between us and whenever these things pop out of the ground.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Is that just a simple, like, since we made it, we know how to set it up?
Yeah, I would say we don't need to
Okay.
roll for that. So you
Cool.
set up this this bouncy ball sprinkler thing, and then you're going to place the seeds into the turned earth.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you do this, and then you back up as per your plan, and then as a after you've placed these, you back up. It doesn't take very long. It's maybe like 20 or 30 seconds. These things start to sprout, and as you look, you see first one, and then two, and then eventually they pop up into 20 of these mechanical warriors, and they're sort of metallic, and they have sort of like visible gears in their shoulders. They're all armed with sort of spears and shields, and as they pop out of the ground, they all sort of have a look around, and they see you across the field, and they start to step forward sort of en masse. And as they do, this bouncy ball sprinkler goes off, and these bouncy balls start pinging off of these metallic bodies from all sides. And as they do, these warriors start turning around and looking around at what happened, and one decides to take a spear and start stabbing at the direction that he just got hit from, and he stabs one of his fellow Spartoi, and then another one comes forward and attacks him with a spear and suddenly there's just a melee going on, and all of these Spartoi warriors are just having a huge brawl. When the dust settles, there are broken mechanical men lying all over the field, and there are no Spartoi warriors left.
Yay!
So you've completed that task.
Score
You
one
don't
for
take-
over-engineering.
Yes!
This is
I'm
why you
going
don't
to-
take balls to a seed fight.
I'm gonna
Uh,
go to take our little invention from the pile of bodies and
Okay.
be like, I'm gonna hand this to my sister and be like, you can show this to Dad and tell the story.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a successful work that you were part of.
I'm gonna put it in, I guess, my bag, if it's not too big.
A backbone.
Yeah.
So now I guess we're proceeding on to the garden
The never sleeping
where
dragon.
So you go back to the house of Aetes, and you sort of show the proof that you've done what was asked, and sort of begrudgingly King Aetes tells his household staff to lead you to the garden. You walk into this garden, and it's a beautiful beautiful garden, lots of flowering plants. In the center of this garden, there's a tall tree, some sort of fruit growing on the vines, and you can see that sort of high up in the tree, sort of attached to the tree in a position where sort of that everyone around can see, is this beautiful piece of golden. Well, it's the golden fleece. It's a sort of a golden woolen piece of fabric wool, and at the base of the tree, you see a dragon. There we go. Yes, so there is a dragon, and it is at the base of the tree, just looking around, clearly ready to fight anything that gets in its way.
Okay.
I'm assuming it's not going to attack us unless we decide to try and try to take the fleece.
Anyone good at convincing a dragon to take a sleeping potion?
I
Um,
mean, Sambius kind of
Spoonful of sugar makes,
had some practice
you know.
with the bowl. I don't know if that
I can always make something that could launch it.
could we brew it in tea?
Not what I was thinking.
What do dragons
so-
drink?
I have a stunt, but like I don't know if he's considered a person.
Do dragons talk in this universe? Or are they more mindless beasts?
I think in this case, it's more of a mindless beast.
Put it in its water
Okay.
bowl? Does it have a water bowl?
Just this giant bowl says dragon.
It says fluffy on it, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like I do have the shoot skill.
What if we made something for it to attack, but we made it like with the sleeping potion inside of it? That way when it takes a big bite of it, it actually ingests the potion.
And then we can use the fireproof salve to make it so it's fireproof, so it doesn't burn if it decides to breathe fire on it instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This
what
is
if we put it in like an automaton that's gonna walk that way and take the fleece, and then it like eats it?
I mean,
Are we gonna make it
we have a field full of automaton
Just
pieces.
just like a walking
Yeah.
robot. Or
I
what do
also-
dragons eat? Maybe we just put the sleeping potion in something that it eats and send it off that way.
Could it be as simple as just asking the staff?
Hey, you thirsty? To
Did you have any thoughts, Amanda?
I was just gonna throw a potion at it.
I feel like
Or-
you're like the one that grounds us while we're
My other option, and I don't know if this is like icky, but I could just take Cogsley, and Cogsley could just be like sniffing and, oh look, there's a fleece, and then the dragon's like, what are you doing? That's my fleece. And then Cogsley can be like, puh, in your face, a sleeping potion. I don't know. That might have been too much.
I have an idea. The dragon
Mhm.
might just be hungry.
That's what I'm saying. Put it in
the
its food.
potion in like a big thing of meat,
Yeah. Do we
and
have
then give it the food, and we can be here as long as we like. One of us is going to get hungry.
It's true. I like
Okay,
the food.
yeah,
idea.
I say that we put the sleeping potion in amongst a big pile of meat, and we just hope that we picked the type of steak that the dragon likes.
I'm gonna sprinkle herbs on it so it doesn't smell the sleeping potion. It just smells good herbs.
Okay.
Tasty.
Yeah, I would say that
Season your
that
food.
we don't need any rolls for that. You get your hands on some meat. I mean, the dragon does have to be fed every so often, so by looking around or talking to the staff, you find some food for the dragon, and you dose it with the sleeping potion, and then sort of leave it where the dragon is usually fed and scurry away. And it eats the meat, and then a short time later its eyes close and its head kind of droops, and the dragon falls asleep.
Okay. Now,
you have a sleeping dragon in front of the tree instead of a never sleeping dragon.
all right, I think we got to do this quietly. Is anyone stealthy? I have a +2.
I got 0.
Okay.
I got 0.
Okay. I guess I'm going to get the fleece.
Libra, I believe in you.
I believe in you too.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I'd like to take off my shoes. I'd like to take off any bags full of metal that make a variety of noises when I were to drop them or trip on something. And I'm going to make sure that I'm in like quiet clothing.
Okay. So yeah, I would say give me a stealth roll. I'm gonna roll an opposed check for the dragon's notice. It is asleep, and so I'm gonna say that that's going to give it a -4. So yeah, you'll be rolling your stealth against what is ultimately a -2 because it gets +2 for notice, but -4 for being asleep. So.
Okay. Oh, I got 0. I am not doing good at dice rolls.
And the dragon rolled 2 pluses, 2 minuses, which is a 0. -2 is a -2. So your stealth beats it. So
Okay.
you are able to stealth up and grab the golden fleece.
Am I just able to grab it? Is it like...
Yeah.
Okay.
You're able to sort of pull it off of where it's attached to the tree and sneak away with it. So you have acquired the golden fleece.
I'm just curious. What you said there's fruit growing off of this tree. What kind of fruit?
I think it's an apple tree. I think that's like literally. I think that is in the
Does it?
in the myth. I think it is an apple tree. I might be wrong about that.
I know at least. I think there's at least one myth that has an apple, because isn't that what Athena offers? What's his name? In the sets off the whole Trojan War. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might be wrong about that. I think we'll say it's an apple tree anyway.
Okay, but there's nothing
I'm not
special
going
about
back
these
for the apples. Like, I'm not going back for the apples. We have the fleece.
As far as you know, no. As far as I know, there's nothing special about the apples. It's an apple tree in the center of the garden.
All right.
All right. So that is, unless there's something else you want to do at the House of Aedes, then that is it for.
We should go before he asks us to do something else.
I was about to say, why don't we just thank him for helping us?
Oh, thank you very much. Great trial. Got your fleece. We'll return what we don't use.
He sort of begrudgingly sort of nods and then goes off back to his throne room grumbling.
I'll say it like, I'll put in a good word for Dad with you. Bye.
Okay. So, there were 2 other stops. Now, we are at 10 p.m., which is about the time that I was aiming to be finished. So, I'll leave it up to the group. Do we want to end here and have sort of the first trial over, and if we ever do a second part of this, we can pick up from there? Or we can continue on and do a slightly abridged version of the remainder of these couple of trials.
It's up to everyone else because thanks to time zones, I am 2 hours behind you guys.
Yeah, you have a bit of advantage on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know everyone else's schedules through like November, December, but I don't know, maybe we could do a part 2 for like a Christmas seasonal holiday non-denominational special.
We can always talk about the schedule afterwards, too.
That's true.
I personally would absolutely love to finish it tonight, but I like the idea of not necessarily doing an abridged version and playing out all of what you've done, so I could go either way.
Sure.
I do like the idea of fully playing it out because I'm having a ton of fun.
Oh,
this is a good story. Really good.
I do work tomorrow, and I know it's like not 8 a.m. in the morning, but it still is like I'd like to get to bed.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, then, if everybody is on board, and Carolyn, it is your stream, so I don't want to call an end to it early.
I am good with this. So, for everyone watching, thank you for joining us tonight. You have seen the first of the quests of, what are we calling ourselves? Team...
Oh, it's on a sheet. 1 second.
Team Over Engineering Olympics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Team Over Engineering Olympics. It will be to be announced. Same bat time, same bat channel sometime in the future. And we shall see you then. Anyone want to say anything before we sign off?
Thanks for
Thank
helping
you.
support kids.
Yes,
Yeah,
thank
thanks
you
so
for
much.
your donations for Extra Life. They are much appreciated.
All right.
Zion approves.
Yay, Kitty approved. All right, see you all later. See, where's my button? Where's my button?